So very good evening to all of you, and a very good evening to my online students as well, and welcome to this workshop on current affairs for UPSC Prelims 2026. Now, you know the reason that we have met today. The primary reason is because we want to do three things. Number one, we want a roadmap about how to prepare for the Prelims 2026 overall for current affairs. Number two, we also want to see that if we take up a topic, and for today's session, the topic that I have selected is GST 2.0, which is the new GST reforms. So if we take up a current topic, how to treat it for the exam purpose, because there are multiple ways of learning the same subject. We can learn a subject from the view of knowledge, from the perspective of research, from a very casual discussion perspective, and then from the perspective of UPSC. So all these perspectives are different. So we should know through an example, and we should guide ourselves in that direction whenever we select some current affairs articles, so that we are able to do justice to it. So that is the second reason. The third reason that we are here is to see exactly what are the resources that we can refer to prepare for current affairs for the prelims exam. Because if we start to study everything, and imagine that, for example, on a topic like GST, which is a new reform. So imagine that on a topic like GST, we have 30-40 pages notes, which we have to refer to. It defeats the whole purpose of current affairs. Then that is not current affairs. Current affairs means value addition and updates. So value addition and updates should be only in that form which can be memorized, understood, and reproduced in the exam, so that we can take it and we can link it with various static areas. So that is the reason that we also have to take care of the fact that the material should not be that bulky that it starts to give us headache. So what to study, what not to study, big challenge for UPSC. Now, through this session, I thought that why not introduce you to a very sort of technical topic from UPSC perspective, so as to say, and show you that no such thing called as technicality exists. Either the topic is factual or conceptual. According to me, there are only two types of topics. So there is nothing called technical. If you understand it well by breaking it down to small components, then the technical topic also becomes very easy. So there are only two topics according to me in current affairs. One is concept, where something new has been introduced, for example, and the second is fact, data, fact, and trend, where you will have to understand and memorize it. So based on that, we are going to see today's session about how to approach current affairs. In between, I'll also keep on asking you questions just to brush up your knowledge, so that you are able to establish linkage between what you have learned so far, because I'm sure that you would have definitely been exposed to something called as taxation, direct tax, indirect tax. Definitely you would have seen it somewhere. So I'll keep on asking you questions, not to test you, but just to make sure that you are able to see what are the type of questions that UPSC can pose. I'll also pose similar kind of questions. So let us make it interactive to my online kids, guys. So whenever I ask you a question, please try to type your answer in the comment box so that I can see what you are typing. And I'll frame my question in such a way that you can give easy answer in 1 or 2 words or 3 words maximum. So do participate online and offline. And if you have any doubts regarding what we are doing, I'll take all your questions online and offline at the end of the session. So let us start. Let us not waste time. Time is crucial for you guys, for UPSC. So guys, this is a session on smart current affairs for prelims 2026. Let us start with a very usual thing which all of us know. I won't waste much time here, but this is important. Dekho, data as such is not useful. If you know where to use data, then it becomes useful. Numbers per se, we don't know what to do with them. For example, if I tell you 20, what will you do with 20? But if I tell you that average number of questions asked from economics in UPSC is 20, then it makes sense. So let us see what this data tells us. So there are so many subjects. For example, the major subjects that you have to study for prelims: economics, polity, geography, environment, science, tech, history, culture, IR, and miscellaneous current affairs. What is miscellaneous current affairs? For example, suppose there is an award which has been given to somebody. Or let's say we are talking about sports related news, or any event which we cannot fit here in these subjects, then we call it miscellaneous. So what I have done is I have divided all the subjects on broader themes. So for example, here economics contains static and current both. Similarly, your polity will contain static and current both. So I'm not writing current affairs as separate. So I've included this in the subject. So these are your major subjects. And whatever we are not able to fit here, that is called miscellaneous current affairs. Now let's go to the last column. And let us see, in between there is a trend, not very important. So let us look at the major findings from here. So what is the major finding? That average number of questions. In some of the years, for example, if you see this year, 2016, 17, 18, you can see a lot of biasness towards this subject economics. A lot of questions being asked. And then you will see that overall average has come out to be around 20. Similarly, polity 14. In some of the years, as you can see, year 2020, 21, etc., 18, 19 questions also. But average is 14. Similarly, geography 13, environment 14, science tech 13, history culture 16. It doesn't mean that it's only 16. Sometimes it's 20 also, as you can see. So, but on an average 16, IR has been very consistent. So its average is around 6. Miscellaneous has become 4. Now, if you ask me what is my opinion about this, I feel UPSC is doing a good job here by creating a balance. Ab dekh lo, it's very balanced. Why is economics showing 20? Because budget, survey and schemes are also included. If you remove budget, survey and schemes, 6 questions removed. And then the average will be same. Which means that one good thing about this exam currently, see, you will find everyone almost like it's a fashion to criticize UPSC, right? So let's not convert this session into a critical evaluation of UPSC. Let us stick to what is there and what are we supposed to do. Let us convert this session into a positive one. So if you look at it from positive perspective, it means that anybody who is very good in one subject and says that, oh, it's very easy to qualify because you are good in one subject, very difficult, because the balance is being maintained. I feel it is okay. Now, let's go to something which is of our use, for which we have met today, the primary purpose of meeting, which is how to prepare for current affairs. Now, Bacho, imagine that I tell you in this session that work hard in current affairs, you will be able to do well in the exam. What is the meaning of that? Useless. Because that's like telling you something, but it doesn't mean anything. Work hard, give your 100%. You know it because you are already doing it. If you were not doing these things, why would you be here? You would be watching a new movie which has been released on intelligence agencies, Afghanistan, India, Pakistan. The very fact that you are in the class means that you are very sorted. In your mind, you are sorted what you have to do, what you don't have to do. So I don't need to tell you to work hard. You already know what to do. So we are not going to take that route. I'll tell you precisely what are the things that you should keep in mind while preparing for current affairs. So look at the subjects now and look at their averages. In this average, if you see carefully, you will see that in some of the subjects, I put a star mark. So what is the meaning of that? The meaning of this is that these are heavy current affairs oriented subjects in your list of subjects for prelims, heavily oriented towards current affairs. So for example, IR, science tech, environment, absolutely current affairs based. In economics, I put a dot, which means that 50-50. If on an average 20 questions are asked from economics, on an average since last 10 years, out of this you'll find almost 12 questions of static, roughly 8 questions of current. This is the ratio. So I'll call it 50-50. In other subjects, the ratio is, for example, if 14-15 questions are asked from environment, you will see roughly 10 being current in nature, 10 or 11 current. Majorly it is current. So star mark would mean current and dot would mean 50-50. So if you actually ask me about a basic roadmap, which is not very confusing, which is very simple to understand, about how to prepare current affairs for the upcoming prelims, what I'll do is I'll divide these subjects into 3 boxes. I call it as 3 groups. So these are the 3 groups in which I am dividing all the subjects. And from here, we will see how to go about current affairs actually. Ab dekhte hain, let us see. So see the first box. In the first box, what are the subjects we are keeping? Economics, polity, geography. So when I was doing little research on this, that what is the average number of questions from these subjects, it came out to be roughly 54. It doesn't mean that it will always be 54. It can be 64 also, it can be 44 also. So from numbers, we should only take a message, an indicative message. We should not be very rigid about it. But what should you read from here? Because when you become an IAS officer, a big part of your job would be analytical in nature. You will have to analyze government schemes, data, pattern in which society is behaving. If you are in Ministry of External Affairs, you have to analyze the foreign policy. But data and analysis is an integral part of your job in future also. So how should you derive the messages from these kind of data? The way to derive it is like this. If you are saying that 54 questions are coming from these subjects, then you should tell your mind that, okay, 50%, half of the paper is from these subjects. Nearly. It doesn't mean always it will happen, but nearly. And as I told you, UPSC maintains a balance. So nearly half of the paper is from here. But look at these subjects. Here, science, tech, environment, then IR, right? These are the number of questions. Then schemes, budget, and survey. These things will come in February, you know it. So from here, I'm expecting least number of questions, which is 5. Least. I remember that in one of the years in UPSC, and the year is 2016-17, around 2016-17, from schemes, 19 questions were asked. Only schemes. But that is aberration, that is odd. It's not normal. That we cannot predict. So what we are seeing is a normal behavior. So in a normal behavior, if you add these brackets, you will get around 30 questions. This box I call as current affairs box. This is our current affairs box. Now, look at the third box. It is history and culture, roughly around 16 questions. It can become 20 also, it can become 12 also, but average is 16. Why did I divide them like this? Because there is a message here. The message is, if I want to devote my time, for example, December is almost over. So if I have to devote my time in January, February, March, April, May you have exam. I'm not counting May as the month which you have for exam. I'm feeling that, I'm taking May as if on the 1st of May you have the exam. Because whatever days you have in May, maybe you will give that time for consolidations, some concepts where you feel that more time is required. So let's ignore May. Let's only count Jan, Feb, March, April, 4 months. How to use these 4 months? See carefully. If you look at the current affairs box and look at the static box, you can clearly see 70% of the question, 54 static plus 16 static, 70. 70% of the questions are static. 30% of the questions are current. So I have seen people saying that hardly 10-15% questions are from current affairs. Is absolutely wrong. Because this is pure current affairs which they are asking. So maybe 1 or 2 less, 1 or 2 more, but it's never 10%. It's always on a higher side. So this is your current affairs actually, and static is roughly 70. But let me show you the other side. In that 70% static also, I have not included the current part of economics. If I split economics into 2 parts, then easily I can take 7-8 questions from here and add it here. So this will become roughly 40. That's your current affairs actually. So in reality, current affairs is almost 30% of your paper, directly and indirectly. So for example, in this year's prelims 2025, a question was asked in geography related to rare earth elements, right? Now, you can call it current, you can call it static, because rare earth is not as if it has come in the earth, in 2025 only. No, it's geological formation. So you can call it current, you can call it static, but why would I call it current? Because rare earth was in news. Because during trade war, China stopped giving rare earth to India and US both. And China's most important bargaining chip in the trade war was the rare earth. So that is why it was asked. So it's a part of geography. So I can call it static, I can call it current. These are borderline cases. But if I remove the complications, if I put it very simple terms, then I will tell you that this is your box which are called core areas. Core area. I'll show you the importance of this. These are the core areas of UPSC preparation. And this is pure current affairs, 30%. Now, if core areas are prepared well, for example, your concept of economics, polity, geography is really in place, you can see the connection with the current affairs. You can easily understand these things in hardly some time. It will hardly require you time to understand these things. There is a direct connection between these two. So if I were you, and I have to prepare current affairs well, I will tell my mind at this point of time, even if my preparation so far has not been that great for various reasons, I will tell myself that, okay, go to 5th gear and start preparing these core areas from now. So even if you start to give your 100% now, still you will have a chance. I'm not saying, see, we are not God, we cannot predict things. But what we can do is we can take steps which will take us closer to our goal. And if we become negative before doing everything in life, then we'll never be able to achieve anything. So whenever you feel that situation is very tough, challenges are there, you try to find out possibilities within impossibilities. That is the only way to succeed in life. There are people who have almost like completed everything. And then if you randomly start to ask them question, you will realize that during the preparation phase or whatever they are doing excellent job. But the moment it comes to a platform to test, they falter there and they are not able to deliver. Hota hai. There are some people who are not extroverts. But maybe you are one of those people who has not discovered yourself, where if I put you under a lot of pressure and if I put you under a cracking situation, maybe if you get the right guidance, you'll excel. Who knows? But for that, maybe you'll have to give yourself a chance. So don't think that, December is almost over. So from January, how will I do this? No. Tell your mind, I'll do it. And just start doing it. So now what will happen because of that? Dekho, with a lot of positive frame of mind, what can you do? The first thing that you need to tell yourself is, I will do good in this part only if I'm good in this. That's the first thing, which means clear cut there is a connection between static and current. So from January, I strongly suggest that you start to take these 3 subjects seriously. Even if you have decided to give 20 days in these 3 subjects or 30 days in January, whole January to these 3 subjects, please do. And how do you study a subject in less time? You make a priority list. For example, if I were to study economics in January, will I devote 30 days in economics? Never. What will I do? I'll look at PYQs. I'll open PYQs. Those PYQs where chapter-wise questions are given. And then I'll try to see that which are the areas from where there is maximum probability of repetition of themes. So for example, monetary policy. In monetary policy, what is repeated? Repo, reverse repo, open market operations, SDF, standing deposit facility. These are the things which are repeated a lot from monetary policy. In taxation, what is repeated? What is the meaning of progressive tax, regressive tax? Some examples of direct taxes, indirect taxes, these are repeated. So what will I do? I'll divide based on PYQ, and if possible, I'll take the help of some faculty, or I'll take the help of somebody whom I know that is good in economics, maybe a senior, etc. So anybody who can guide me with authenticity, I'll go to them, I'll ask them only one thing, that can you tell me those chapters from where there is a high probability of questions being asked? And from every chapter, same number of questions are never asked. So if you ask me, being an economist since almost a decade now, more than a decade, if you ask me that which are the important areas of economics, I can list out areas and I can tell you that, okay, from these areas, you will get a maximum number of questions. Because almost every economist think alike. Similarly, anyone who is very good in history, their thinking pattern and understanding pattern from academic perspective, not from opinion perspective, from exam perspective, their thought process is more or less similar. So you go to anybody who is an expert in the subject and ask them that, can you divide this subject for me? And plus you can apply your mind. Can you divide this subject for me in 2 parts? One priority area and one less priority, low priority. The priority areas are the ones which you should study in January 1st. So find your priority area from economics, find your priority area from geography as well as polity. For example, if I have to find priority areas from polity, I can simply find, fundamental rights, fundamental duties, DPSP, parliament, center-state relation. These are the priority areas. Like, for example, the judiciary, right? These are the things which I'll pick up and I'll study them, I'll finish them at one go. So divide your subjects, this block, into 2 parts, priority, low priority. First, you select all the priorities. So from all the 3, only priorities. And I assure you, if you give your 100% with a positive frame of mind, without thinking what will happen. Dekho, when you are flying an aircraft, when a doctor is performing the surgery, imagine if the doctor starts to think every second, God knows what will happen. You open the body of a patient, look at the kidney and say, God knows what will happen. Let me see. So, you take a knife and say, God knows what will happen. You understand what will happen then. So every time you take a step, don't look back and say, I don't know what will happen. That is doubt. That is self-doubt. Self-doubt is the biggest killer, right? So you should never do that. So what should you do? The moment you go out, give your full-fledged. So divide your subject into 2 parts. One is priority, one is low priority. All the high priority from these 3 you study. And as I was telling you, that based on my experience of these 3 subjects, I can tell you that 20-25 days should be good enough to handle the priority areas of these subjects. Why only these 3 first? Because these have direct linkage with current affairs, as I was telling you. And these are core areas of UPSC. You should be really good in these things. Then comes what to do in current affairs. So for current, so I told you this core area you should definitely attack in the month of January. And guys, don't take prelims lightly. because I believe that prelims is something which is not very predictable, right? You can, but I can show you a pattern in UPSC that every time you will believe that same type of questions will be asked as it was done last time. So what will happen is you will find a big surprise in UPSC, and that can destroy your dreams. We don't want that. There is a reason that UPSC is creating, as I showed you in the data, there is a reason that UPSC has created a balance. Here, देखो आप, see, balance. And as I told you, economics is also not 20. Economics is 20 because of schemes and economic survey and budget. You take that document out, it looks like any other subject. So there is a reason they have created a balance so that they can play occasionally with the number of questions. You don't want to fall in that trap. So please don't listen to anybody who says it is 100% predictable. I'll tell you a formula in 5 seconds. There is no formula. The only formula is that you have to give your 100% best effort all the time with a positive bent of mind that I can manage. So what do you need to do first? This box, divide the box into 2 parts, and then you go for high priority. Along with that, what do you do? So shall you spend your entire January doing high priority? No, bad idea. What should you do along with that? Yeah, that is the main thing. So along with doing the high priority, you ask yourself a question that which part of current affairs is mentioned in this box, which will not change in February, March, and April. It will not change. It has to be like that, whatever it is. And the answer is science, tech, environment, and IR. It will not change. In economics, there can be a big change. Why? Schemes change. Right? Today, there is a scheme called PM Swanidhi. Under Swanidhi, you are giving 10,000 rupees to people who are from low income group. Tomorrow, 10,000 will become 15,000. What will you do? Or like Manrega has changed. So if I am there, if I am in your position, in January, I will not study schemes. In January, I'm not going to study economics at all because I know it will change after budget. So what will I do? I'll divide my current affairs, this box, into 2 parts. The first part is called science, tech, environment, and IR. And I will give my 100%, I'll give my 100% effort into these 3 subjects, science, tech, environment, and IR, because I know it will not change. And when will I study this? Little bit in January, little bit in February, because current affairs is something which should not be taken as a single dose, one shot solution. It is not possible. It will create, sort of lot of tiredness in your mind. So you should not study entire current affairs at one go. It's a very bad idea. Current affairs should be taken as slow dose. So tell your mind that, okay, I don't need to panic. Let me take 3 subjects, science, tech, environment, and IR. Maximum I'll try to cover in January, but little bit I'll cover in Feb also. Keep your Feb little light. Why? Because in Feb, your economic survey budget and schemes will come. And this guarantee, there is a guarantee it will give you 5-6 questions, sometimes 7-8 questions as well. It has to be there. Now, and plus, if you prepare economic survey, budget, and schemes for prelims, directly it is useful in mains GS paper 2 and 3, which also I'll show you in my next workshop when I talk about mains. So you take this very seriously, but when do you do it? You do it in Feb and March. Why? Because it's also very heavy dose. And this type of dose should not be taken at one go. It should be split into 2 months because we have to be efficient. We don't have to cover something for the sake of it to tell somebody, hey, I have covered. It's not an exam where you convince people that you are prepared. It's an exam where you actually prepare yourself without telling anybody what you are doing. Just prepare, be happy, solve questions, and tell yourself, no, I'm ready. This is not something where you scream and say, I'm done. No, you don't have to give confidence to others. You have to give confidence to yourself that, okay, I'm done. So what do? You take this subject, science, tech, environment, and IR. You divide it in 2 months, Jan and Feb, and then you take economics, budget, survey, and schemes. You divide it in Feb and March. That's the strategy. Ab dekho, let's take these 2 things together. Take this box, and this together, and see. Now it looks very substantial. Now it will look very substantial that you are doing priority areas of economics, you are doing priority areas of polity and geography. Along with that, you are doing these 3 subjects. That's quite something. It requires full focus, consistency. You have to take care of your health also. Emotional health, physical health. You have to eat well. You have to take rest. Don't get triggered by negative or positive emotion. Be stable in this phase. This phase is very important. You should speak to your parents in this phase. Be in touch with them because they are one of the biggest supports that you have. So if you have good group of friends, you should keep speaking to them also. Because whenever you are going to be very disciplined and consistent, it's painful. Discipline and consistency is always painful. It hurts. How does it hurt? In a positive sense, it will make you tired. you will feel burnout symptoms. Every 4 or 5 days, you will feel everything is lost. What is that feeling? That feeling is your body's natural way of taking rest. And you'll keep blaming yourself that maybe I'm not good, maybe I'm losing interest in studies. It's not like that. It's very simple. When you put your heart and soul into something, no, within 5, 6 days, 7 days, 10 days, you will see burnout. And that burnout we mistake as if we are not interested in studies. It's not like that. That is where your friends, your parents, and those who are very close to you are the ones who will support you. So this is the period where you should definitely be in touch with your parents, keep their blessings with you, and your friends very close. This will help. And your health also is very important. Keep eating well. So I know I'm not a dietitian and nutritionist, but I understand, just like you guys, we are all learners, right? You are appearing in an exam. I'm studying for knowledge. That's different, but we are all learners and we experience almost similar kind of things. So what do? You take these three and then you take these subjects and you prepare it in the month of January. Ab dekho the beauty of this style. Now, when February, March will come, by that time, most of this will be over. And it should be. It should be, because I'm giving you a plan with a lot of strictness and discipline. So it should be over. This should also not be completely over, but 50% complete, or 30-40% to at least complete. So that in the month of February, when the economic survey and budget will come, because you have been doing economics in January, now this will look very easy to you. You will say, oh, wow, I know it. I know what is fiscal deficit. I know what is the new philosophy of GST. Yes, I'll know it. The reason, because in January only, in the first week of January or 10 days in January, I did economics. So now in the month of February, and the budget will come, you will establish the connection, and it's a revision for you also. But imagine if you don't do economics in the first 10 days of January, then what will happen? Then the problem that will happen is when the economic survey, budget, etc. will come. In economic survey and budget, whenever it is presented, there are two subjects which look very important at that time: economics and polity. Some new acts of the parliament, some new bill has become law, etc. Right? So concept of money bill, finance bill, how a bill is passed, how the bill becomes an act, many things will become important. So imagine if you have done these two subjects really well. Even if you have done it before, koi baat nahi, you still revise. You will see that this will become very easy for you. That's the connection. So 50% of the heavy content to be done in January, this one to be started. When the February comes, you shift here, and almost this will be 50%, which means the priority areas will be done. Now don't touch it. Don't touch it. Leave it like that. Because you have already taken good dose of this and good dose of these subjects. And February has already started. So in the month of February, when you leave this and you select this one is about to be over, in the month of February, budget survey will come, you will shift here. This one will be light. So this becomes dominant in February. Because this one is almost done. In Jan, and in Feb, this one is almost about to be over. So this becomes important. Up in February, along with this, since you have already done, dekho, the beauty of this, science ek environment IR, this done, this done, this done, almost. And now this one you are already touching. Huge box done in Jan and Feb. So the style of doing is such that if you take this in Jan and do the heavy one, and here in Jan and Feb you are doing this. In the month of February, you will do this whole thing. And when you look at this component of current affairs, you will see whatever is left behind, maybe 10%, 20%, in Feb it is taken care. So Jan and Feb is the time when you should give the highest priority to these and this. Feb is the time when you should shift to this little bit and try to complete the remaining portion from there. So Jan and Feb, these two and this done. If something is left, remember we have kept May as free. This is the reason we kept May as free, so that if something is left from here, just say for example, you study economics. In economics, 1 or 2 areas are left. Example, let's take an example. Let's say that human capital, sustainable development, is you're not able to. These are main related topics. Ho sakta hai, you call it as second priority, you leave it for some time. Thinking that in mains, or land reforms, thinking that this will not be asked in prelims, maybe 1 or 2 questions, but not majorly. You keep it aside. So now what will happen is, don't take it up till the month of February. Don't. Just do the high priority area. And then you come to this subject. When? March. So Jan, Feb done. March. When you come to this subject in March, now you cannot do high priority, low priority here. Because here it's very difficult. Some areas, yes, you can. But there is so much uncertainty that you cannot do high priority, low priority. What you can do here is sequencing. So in history, I cannot say that this is very important, this is zero important. ऐसे नहीं कर सकते. So what we have to do is 70% of your content in history, if you check your modern history, ancient and medieval, you'll see 70% is important. And from those 70%, questions are asked in rotation basis. So if you take history and culture as a subject, slightly unpredictable, which means you have to do justice to it. And questions are asked. So what you need to do is March you can give to this. So in March, you try to complete it. April, you revise. You will see, if you follow this strategy, that March will look little easy to you. That is the time when you should do your test series. So if you are doing test series now, for example, suppose that January you have decided to do a test series or join a test series. So whatever strategy I am telling you, these strategies will slow down a little bit. And whatever I tell you to complete in January, it will go to February. Whatever is in February, it will go to March. That is the only thing that will happen. Overall, you will achieve the same thing. So if you have not joined any test series, if you're not writing any test series, or you don't want to be aggressive in a test series, then you should follow this strategy of being aggressive in the content in January and February. But if you mix it with a test series, everything will be like this. Just add this Jan and Feb, along with that little bit of March will be added. Here March will be added. The timeline will extend a little bit, but you will complete nevertheless. So I'm catering to two type of students here. One, those who are going to appear in UPSC for the first time and you feel that you are not ready for a test series, or even if you are appearing in test series, you know you will not be able to do justice. Then you follow my strategy, which I told you so far. Aggressive in January and February, and then from March, you can be a little more aggressive in the writing part, test series, etc. But if you are that student who has already appeared in UPSC, prepared once or prepared twice, then what you can do is, in all this strategy, you can mix your test series right from January, integrate your test series. So what will happen? This timeline will extend a little bit, no problem. But at least you are doing test series also along with that. So two mindsets. One, if I'm appearing in UPSC for the first time, then I should tell myself that, okay, I need to do the content. 70% content I cannot compromise. So I will focus on that. If I'm doing UPSC, maybe second attempt, third attempt, or maybe I'm preparing since long, I don't need this kind of strategy. Okay, then you integrate test series. But your sequencing of subjects has to be more or less like this, because the design of the subject is this complementing this and this one complementing this. That is the reason it has been created. Now, if you look at this entire thing, if you normally see that, okay, I have divided my subjects in blocks. This is core area, that is current, and that is something which I need to memorize a little bit. So if today I decide to give my time to history and culture, in Feb, I'll have to revise again. In March, I'll have to revise again. So I will push it a little bit, not because it is not important. The nature of the subject is that close to exam, I have to do it 2-3 times. So that is there in my mind. But these subjects I cannot do close to exam. Close to exam, somebody says, what is Western disturbance? And tell me the mechanism of working of cyclone. Maybe I'll get confused. Where is high pressure? Where is low pressure? Entire pressure is in my mind. I'll be confused. So ये सब we won't be able to do. Fiscal deficit को will call revenue deficit को will call as money bill. मतलब कुछ भी will start doing. So these kind of heavy things we should not do before exam. It should be done in January. So बच्चों, looking at a basic discussion so far, which is the month where you need to be almost like give your 100% heart and soul into it, it's January. January. You cannot postpone it beyond January. So January, I'm making it slightly engaging for you, so that Feb say you can give more time to current, and by the time you reach March, you can do that third part. Doing test series. I have an idea about test series. I very strongly feel about it. I believe that the best way to prepare for this exam, well, this is personal opinion, best way to prepare is, even if you are doing it for the first time or second time, is convince your mind, dhyan suna bachcho, it's very important, convince your mind that if I'm doing something very important in economics in the month of January, high priority areas, the moment you complete a topic, like today you decided that, okay, I'm going to start with monetary policy. Monetary policy will take you 2 days. Tell your mind that if monetary policy takes normally 2 days, I will give it 1.5 days. I'll speed up. I'll speed at the half day which I save, or 3-4 hours which I save, I'll solve 20-30 questions based on that. Maybe PYQ or questions from any test series that I can get my hands upon. So the moment you complete a chapter, I'll tell you the importance of this. This I'll show you today itself. I have a demonstration for that. The moment you start a chapter, immediately you should start to solve questions. This gives confidence. And this helps us to retain the things in the mind for a very long time. Imagine if you study monetary policy on 1st of Jan and you are upping in a test series in March. Almost a disastrous situation. So in this whole strategy, if you ask me, what is that one element that if you add, it will become almost a perfect strategy for you, that you start in January with this, mix it with this, February you shift to this, and you can also do the remaining part and then there. What is one thing which if you add, it becomes almost a highly efficient strategy? MCQs, questions, both PYQ and test series. But what is the style of doing test series? According to me, the style of doing the question in January should be, every time you complete a theme, monetary policy complete 20-30 questions, not 200 questions. Some people will tell you 200 questions. But if I don't have time, I'm doing it for the first time. From where will I bring 200 questions? I don't have time. If you have time, do it. But if you don't have time, at least 20. So 20 questions. Similarly, if I'm doing fundamental rights or DPSP, 20 questions. So at least you tell your mind that I'll do 10, 20 questions within a time frame. I'll just read the answer. I'll see my mistakes. I'll move on. This is the best way to utilize this January and February. January and February should be used like this. Then if you want to go to full length test, definitely you can. As a beginner, you can do these things. Agar aap pehli baar karo, you are a beginner and you know that you don't have much experience. This is one strategy where with less efforts, return will be very high. That is one thing that you can do. So I'm not telling you to do unrealistic targets of solving like 100 questions on monetary policy, 200 on fiscal policy. It's difficult at your stage. So, and I'm not assuming that you are preparing since 5 years or 6 years. So I can't give you that strategy. So I'm assuming that you are a beginner, maybe 1 or 2 years. So how can you utilize your time like this? So this is one strategy. Abhi thoda, let's go a little ahead. And I'm trying to show you something important, that if you decide to do current affairs, what are the ways in which you can do it? Dekhiye. So one takeaway from this discussion so far is, if you ask me, one takeaway would be that current and static should be done together. I could have easily told you that because it's a current affairs session, I could have been biased and told you give January to current affairs, February to revision. Absolutely useless strategy, because current affairs is nothing without static. So what is the best way to do current affairs? Now that I have given you a rough idea about how you should divide your subjects in priority and low priority areas. So the best way to do current affairs is, I have got 2 formulas to do current affairs. The first is self-study and the second is classes. I'll tell you something. Imagine that I have a headache, right? A mild headache. And I know that this headache is going to affect me. So I'll ask myself that what do I do to remove the headache? And I feel that if I take good nap, maybe I was not sleeping well. If I sleep for 2 hours, the headache will go. So I will not go to a doctor, not required. What will I do? I'll try to heal myself at home. I don't need the help of anybody. I'll just fix it. Similarly, suppose that I have had some differences with somebody. I have had a small fight with somebody. Somebody tried to do something negative, etc. So will I go to police? Will I file a case in the court? Will I hire advocate? No, I will not. If somebody has said anything bad to me, I'll go to the person. I'll ask them that, what is the problem you have with me? Because we both want peace. The moment you try to file a case, this, that, etc., a lot of time will be wasted. So what you do? First, you try to find a solution to arbitration, mutual, discussion. And that is done at international level also. Just as China has filed a complaint against India in WTO. So what is WTO saying? WTO is saying mutually first you both talk. So if somebody has a problem with me, instead of filing a case and fighting, I'll talk. If talks don't help, then maybe legal action, etc., etc. But first is talk. Similarly, if you feel you have a headache, you don't go directly to a doctor. If it's a basic headache because of lack of sleep, you will catch up some sleep. Done. That I call as self-study. If you believe, because of your preparation, because of your strength, because of your understanding of the subject, that current affairs is something which you can handle by yourself, you should stick to it. You should do self-study. And I'll tell you how to do self-study. That's number 1. But if you feel it has become such a headache that it scares you, and you believe that your result will be compromised, then since you are doing everything which is humanly possible to crack the exam. You're doing everything in your capacity. But you feel despite doing it, current affairs has become, a thorn in my, almost preparation and creating a hurdle. Then you take help. Because if I have such a severe headache that I am not able to get rid of it by sleeping and taking rest, then I will not tell my mind that first let me do an MBBS. Let me learn how to get rid of headache, फिर I'll get rid of my headache. ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता. It is not possible. So if current affairs scares you, gives you nightmares, to the extent that you feel your result will be compromised, time to take help. But till that time comes, if you feel it is manageable, self-study, I'll still say, and what I'm saying is not only what I believe, but all of us believe the same thing. All the faculties who teach you that the best form of study, if you do not need the help, is self-study. But if you feel something is creating problem in you, then you should not shy away from help because career will be compromised. So first, my focus will be self-study. And let me tell you how you can do self-study by using some resources that Vajiram is already providing. If I felt that these resources were not good enough, I would have not discussed this part. But I have full faith in what few things Vajiram is providing you, which can help you actually to design your self-study for current affairs in a very nice manner. You can literally do it. You don't need any extra help. पहले वो बताता हूँ, let me tell you. So for example, if you are one of the students who has been making very good notes in current affairs consistently, maybe you missed out on 10-15 days, that's not a problem. But if you have been very consistent in making current affairs notes from newspaper, etc., then you have won half the battle. If you have been consistent in newspaper notes, literally 50% problem solved. Then what I can tell you, what you can do is, then you can take up a monthly magazine. You can access the monthly magazine of Vajiram also. So for example, Recitals. It's a very good magazine. And trust me guys, if the magazine were not good, I would have been silent on that. But magazine is really good. So, and you are learned enough. If you open, you will find that. So what you can do is, your own notes, you supplement it with magazine. So don't use, since you are making your own notes, don't use magazine cover to cover. Use it as value addition. So for example, if you have covered a news of GST from your newspaper and you made notes, from the magazine, just go through it and see if there is extra point, you write it in your notes. That is how you should use it. Suppose you don't have monthly magazine. Ho sakta hai, you don't have monthly magazine. Don't worry. If you are making your current affairs notes, then in the month of January, February, March, you will see yearly compilations of Vajiram again. And the number of pages in our yearly compilation are doable. It's not 5,000 pages for current affairs, no, nothing like that. It's very, very less. It's not very thick and bulky. It's manageable. So take the yearly compilation, and from here, you select those areas which you missed out. And you mark it in the magazine itself. Don't make notes of the magazine. Mark it there, yellow, green, blue, using your pencil, pen, and study them. So what are your two primary sources of self-study? This and this. Or if you have monthly magazine, with this and monthly magazine. Along with that, what should you do? This is my personal advice. Along with that, economic survey budget and scheme, as it comes on the 1st of Feb, you should definitely do economic survey budget and schemes, because 6-7 questions, sometimes 8 questions, almost guaranteed. It has to come from there. So if you are doing self-study, the only thing that you will have to update yourself is in February, you'll have to do this. This I'm sure you must be doing. So this you will have to do. Along with that, I have two suggestions, personal opinion. If you are doing self-study of current affairs, you must join a test series of current affairs somewhere. Doesn't matter where. So for example, in Vajiram, we have a test series of current affairs where they ask, I think, I'm not in that team, but the team is really cool. Their questions, current affairs questions are really good. So I have seen that the questions directly reflecting in the exam. So I think they take 10, 12 tests, something like this. So select wherever you want to go. If you are doing self-study, you must do a test series only for current affairs where 10, 12 tests are there. Just because whenever you study something, you also want to be evaluated. You don't want UPSC to directly evaluate you. Fear it will be dangerous. Fear you will never know your shortcomings. So that is my strong suggestion, that if you are doing current affairs on your own, you must get yourself evaluated. Example I gave you, I told you can join anywhere, it's not a problem. So one of the test series that we have in Vajiram is for current affairs, that you can see, check. The second is this video which Vajiram provides. Again, brilliant videos, and I can vouch for it. So, and you can have full faith in this, not because Vajiram is giving, in fact, I'm not giving these videos. Some other experts are giving the video, but I do watch it regularly and I can vouch for it. I can give my 100% confidence to the video, called as Analysts. So if you feel that some topic in current affairs is bothering you, analyst are daily videos by Vajiram. If you cannot watch all the videos every day, if you feel something is bothering you, you must watch that video. They are not very lengthy. They are hardly 1 hour, 1 hour, 10 minutes, something like that. So you can definitely go with that videos. And I can vouch for these two things. So in your self-study preparation of current affairs, these are the only two external things which I would add. And I would tell you that if you do it, it will become a complete set. But only condition that I told you for self-study is you must have been doing newspaper regularly. If you are not doing newspaper regularly, this model breaks down. Then it doesn't work. So then what do you need to do? देखो आप भी समझते हो that newspaper is 50% of your preparation in current affairs. If you are not doing this, can these things help you? Honest opinion, not possible. अभी देखेंगे क्यों. I'll show you why. And this is where the real UPSC kind of test happens. If you are doing newspaper well, you should never be scared. I believe that anybody who does newspaper from day one, they are already 50% ahead in current affairs. Then you do not need any help from anybody. I can vouch for that. And I will tell you, even if somebody is helping you, you should tell them, no, it's totally fine, I have managed. But if you have not done your newspaper, then I'll show you why we need help and why some sort of issues can happen in the exam because you have not done your newspaper. So abhi dikhata hu, I'll show you that. So as I told you, if you ask me what is the best way to prepare for current affairs, actually this is the best way. I'll give you sample of notes in a while, but this is the best way, supplemented with these two. This is Vajiram YouTube videos, every day uploaded on the portal, on the YouTube channel. And this is the test series of current affairs by Vajiram. So if I were you, I'll just, if you don't want to do this, you can do something else also. There's no problem. But I feel these two are good. Now let's go to that side. If you feel help is required and if you feel that dikkat hai, nightmares, then what we do in our current affairs classes is we take the current affairs classes here. I have a team. There are two more faculties with me. Avinav sir is there and Shivarsan sir is there. So I can tell you what we do. We, all of us, whosoever takes current affairs here, we study at least 4 or 5 newspapers. If not 5, at least 4 newspapers. We are very regular with 4 newspapers. What we do is we take up themes from the newspaper and we convert those themes into these handouts. Chalo isko count karte hain. Let us count the number of pages. See the first page, half the page is blank. See the second page, again half the page is blank. Malab, it's not a burden. See the third page, total, content, pure content. See the 5th page, pure content, 6th content, and after that, only MCQs. So in literally 3-4 pages, if you see properly, if we make the notes out of it, literally 3 pages or maximum 4, entire GST done. And when you say GST, our coverage is normally the way we cover is, we take almost last 1.5 to 2 years of news and we convert them into 3 to 4 pages. But this is what you will also have to do. If you are doing self-study, bas ye karna aapko. You have to get so much of confidence that you are able to convert last 2 years of GST related news into 3 pages. If you do this, headache gone, bulkiness gone, and recall becomes 100% efficient. So now see, this is what we do first. So newspaper 4-5, PIB and reports, we convert these 3 into either class notes or handouts. There is a unique design of this handout. If you see carefully, aap dhyan se dekhiye, there is something unique in it. As I was telling you that to my online kids also, if you check the handout, you'll find something unique. If you see the handout in the current form, it is a 1-pager. You convert everything, you put all these things in a normal font size in 1 or 2 pages. In 2 pages, entire handout can be put in various small boxes. So it will become a 2-pager. So all the important things are highlighted there without explanation. I have left some space there. So when you attend the session today, we will do that. When you start to write in your own handwriting, it will become a full-fledged mains notes. So if you read it in the current form, it is prelims. If you fill all the details, it will become mains notes. This is one of the ways in which we do our handouts. This is actually the real current affairs preparation. The moment you have this handout, uske baad if somebody tells you that, hey, I'll take a test on GST or taxation, are you ready? You will say, yeah, just let me open these pages. Done. You don't need to have anything bulky. Essay current affairs has to be prepared. So this is what we do. Now, what we are planning is January 17th, we are starting this current affairs. And by April end, we will cover almost like 35 lectures. 35 lectures. In 35 lectures, we are going to cover almost like last 1.5 years of current affairs. In these 35 lectures, I'll take slightly more than 1/3 of the classes here. Now, in this current affairs course, which we are planning to have, there will be 6 sectional tests, which I was telling you, that from any source you do tests. I'm not saying from here or there, anywhere you do tests, because you want to be reviewed. Review is very important. So in our course, it is included, and 2 full-length tests plus economic survey, budget and schemes, everything is included. Plus, in every handout, if you check the end of the handout, you will see 10, 20, 30, 15, aise karke questions are there. So I believe, bachcho, that if you ask me how to prepare current affairs, I'll say 70-80% is preparation, remaining 20% is practice. Questions. You have to practice so many questions that if they ask you any dimension of the current affairs, you should be comfortable at heart. I have heard it somewhere. That should be the level of practice. So what are the 2 ways that I feel are very strong for current affairs preparation? Number way is this way. But the only problem with this way is, if you have done your newspaper notes regularly, if this will suit you, then I think then you should not join here. Then you should continue with your preparation. Then you should only join the Vajiram ka test series of current affairs, and you watch the video and you are done. But if you have not done your newspaper consistently, or if you're not very happy with what you have done in the newspaper, this is your only solution. So now you decide. But don't pressurize yourself. Just see what suits you based on your time. Second, if you go for self-study, I want to demonstrate through a lecture, Abhi, that how to do self-study, how to make notes, etc., etc. And I will do exactly what we do in the class, in our current affairs class. I'm going to replicate it. So you will feel as if you're in a real class. And this is exactly how self-study should also be done. Karke dekhte hain, let us do it. A sample of how to take up a topic and make notes for ourselves. Or a sample of how we take classes in Vajiram. Karke dekhte hain. Let us see this. Let's not waste time. So, bachcho, this is your news. Let's see. So to my online kids, I'm sure that you must be understanding what I'm trying to tell you about the note-making process, which we are going to see. Hai na? So focus on what we are going to do now, because this is the best way to understand how to make notes and how to prepare for the upcoming prelims. I'm not going to bring mains wala element today. I'll just focus on prelims. Now see. So let's see the news. From there, this will give us an idea. So it says GST rate changes. Why was this done? Right? And who is impacted? How? Explained in 5 points. Oh, ready-made material for UPSC. Literally everything is there which UPSC asks. That, GST rate changes, why was this done, who is impacted, how GST reforms or boost consumption growth, kaise hota hai? How does consumption growth take place? Like that is also a question that UPSC is asking. Now you have there one news which says GST 2.0 played key role in supporting domestic consumption, economic growth in 2025. So here they are saying that how will GST do these things? How will GST help? And there they are saying GST 2.0, it has already helped. The report is already out. Now, the next one says transformed by GST reform. So here they are trying to say that how GST is helping the medicine sector. That is the news basically. Medicine, pharmaceutical, medicine. So which means that these are some of the important news items which I could see in the news. If I were you and I were preparing for UPSC, the first thing that I'll do is I'll go to that diagram and I will ask myself that what is the connection of static economics with the current affairs wala economics, which I'm going to study. So current affairs wala is GST 2.0, and in GST 2.0 they have used some words: economic growth, consumption, medicine sector. So I'll think like UPSC and I'll ask myself that how will they integrate current and static? Because they will. And then immediately, because I'm new to the subject, I'm not very trained, I means I'm behaving like you. Because maybe necessarily I don't have economics background. How will I know? So what I'll do is, I'll show you. What I'll do is, I'll open PYQ. And then I'll see, wow, 2017, UPSC asked a question. This is 2017 UPSC prelims, because in 2017 GST was introduced. I'll read the question. Ab dekho, let's read the question. Question says, what is or are the most likely advantage? Okay, why are they asking likely advantage? Because GST was introduced in 17. When something is introduced for the first time, how can you write the result? You can only write what is likely to happen. You cannot write this has already happened. So would you appreciate UPSC asking this type of question? Yes. And the language is also good. They are not saying what has already happened. So, beautiful question. The first option says it will replace multiple taxes collected by multiple authorities and will thus create a single market. Second says, yeah, it will drastically reduce current account deficit. Okay. So now they are connecting balance of payment with fiscal policy. Wow. Nice. Then it is saying that, third option, it will enormously increase the growth and size of economy. Okay, GDP. This is GDP. So topic called as national income accounts, macro, connected with balance of payments and connected with taxes, fiscal policy. Three options, three different chapters. Nice. And then UPSC says, select the right answer. Okay, that is number one. Number two, I will dig deep, little deep. Thoda or I'll spend 5 more minutes because there are ready-made books available these days where MCQs and PYQs are written. Then I'll say, okay, wow. In 17, there is another question in mains. But in 2017, in prelims also GST, mains also GST. Amazing. And what are they asking? They are asking, enumerate the indirect taxes which have been subsumed in the goods and services tax and also comment on the revenue implication of GST introduced in India since 2017. They are asking that if GST is introduced, what will be the government revenue? Government's revenue means government sources of income. Will it increase, reduce? What will happen? Very nice question. And then we see that in 2020, again, there is a question. But why there is a question in 17 and 20? Because in 17, GST was introduced. In 20, because of COVID, there was a problem. So whenever it was in news, it is being asked. GST is again in news. Right, 25. So now let's see. It says, explain the rationale behind the Goods and Services Tax Compensation to States Act of 2017. Okay. So it says when GST was introduced, there was something called as compensation, which center promised to state. Okay, they are saying that, explain why. Then they are saying, how has COVID-19 impacted GST compensation fund and created new federal tension? Which means, whenever the word federal tension is there, you cannot simply write your answer as center and state are angry with each other. We cannot write. The moment the word federal comes, etc., immediately your mind should tell you, okay, I have to use constitution. I have to use some articles of the constitution to talk about federal distribution of power related to taxes. Because since there is a tension, that means something must be there in the constitution, which center says, because of this, I have this power. State must be, because of this, I also have the power. There must be something like that. Kuch to hai, there is something which is bothering them. So if you will not write the symptom, if you will not write the cause together, then your answer is incomplete. What is the symptom? Fight. What is the cause? Something in the constitution. So you have to connect the constitution with the fight, federal fight. So this question says, I have to study polity along with economics. This gave me an idea. Abhi, I know that if I have to do well in economics, from current affairs perspective, I should know balance of payment, I should know GDP, I should know inflation, I should know some provisions of constitution. Ye to clear hai. UPSC question itself is telling. What will I do if I have to prepare for and how much time will this take if I want to analyze this? 10 minutes. Because I told you, ready-made books are available where PYQs are there. So how will I prepare for current affairs? The moment I read a news, jaise bhi bacho, there is a news these days related to Manrega. The moment I read the news, immediately I'll go back to PYQ and I'll see what questions have been asked from Manrega. You know what questions have been asked? I have seen it and I literally memorized it because I thought it will be easy for me to, in future, identify the areas related to Manrega which can be asked in exam. So I did some PYQs, started to memorize this question. So for example, one of the options asked from Manrega was that what is the reservation for women there? And what is the percentage participation of women? That question was asked in UPSC. Then the question which was asked related to Manrega was whether it is demand-related scheme, demand-driven scheme or supply-driven scheme. That was the second statement asked. Third statement asked, which was the most dangerous statement asked in UPSC, was under Manrega, which of the following assets are given more priority? So under Manrega, you know, people build roads, they dig ponds, but which one is that activity which is given the most highest prominence there? Oh, okay, trend is being asked. Aise karke questions are asked. And then in Manrega, the question which was asked was how many days, right? How the payment is made, how many days of employment is offered. These kind of things are asked in Manrega. So if I know this, I also know that there are some DPSP and fundamental rights which talks about sources of livelihood, no discrimination, government support, having basic dignity of life. It's there in DPSP. So the moment I read Manrega, first I'll read DPSP. And because in Manrega, what do we offer? Labor. So I will also check in the constitution whether labor is in the state list or union list or concurrent list. ये सब I need to check. So आप देख रहे हो, current affairs is never current affairs. Current affairs is current affairs traced back to your static. This is the right way. Abhi I'll show you how. So the moment we read this news related to GST, what will come in my mind? Immediately I'll think that I am blank. I am a new student. I don't know what to do. Immediately open PYQ. And from PYQ, I got an idea that they're asking about GST compensation, says something called cess compensation, something called as federal fight. Then they are saying multiple taxes have been subsumed. By how many multiple taxes have been subsumed? Don't you think that this question should be asked? How many multiple taxes? I don't know. That also I need to know. About what will I do? Now I'll go back and I will check from my polity, class notes, Lakshmikant, any book, whatever, Bare Acts, Google, ChatGPT. I will go and check which are the constitutional provisions which are related to something called as GST and taxation power of center and state. So what will I do? I'll list out the important provisions, which is there in your handout. So guys, I suggest that you come to page number 8. Page number 8. This is how you do current affairs. So the first thing that strikes me is that federal fight, federal tension. So I need to know what are the provisions of constitution related to taxes. These are the important provisions in and around GST. I am preparing economics. No, I am preparing current affairs. I means you and I. So since I'm preparing current affairs, there is no boundary now. If I'm reading news related to economics, in current affairs, whatever is related to different areas, I have to study it. That's the beauty of current. Current affairs does not have boundary. A news related to economics can take me back to polity. Aa gaya polity. So now I'll see Article 265. Then I'll see Article 245, 46, 69, 69A. Then you have 79A. So I suggest that you, if you have studied polity, this is your first question in the class. It's not a test, as I told you, online and offline. This is one of the ways in which we try to see if our direction of preparation so far has been okay or not okay. So these are static things. Please open the handout online and offline, kids, and please fill it. Page number 8, question number 7. Whatever you can recall, take a minute, try to fill. And please fill it, everyone, with your pen. I will tell you the answer. Try to recall. Close your eyes, try to recall. Take a guess. This is static. Very important. Please do it, guys. Online kids, I'm sure you must also be doing. Try it, please. Try. Please write. If you know only one also, there is no problem. Please try. But do try, please. And don't take help, because this is not a test. This is an assessment, self-assessment, that how do I need to improve myself. Maybe you have not revised, so you might not be able to recall. Koi baat nahi, that's fine. But whatever you are able to recall. And if you have never studied these things, then help should be taken. Help matlab, then you should go to your faculties and ask them that, okay, what are the articles I need to memorize for taxation? You should do it. Sumant, I believe that CSAT should be studied from January. You should not take CSAT lightly. Little bit dose of CSAT, you should start from January. Even if you are studying CSAT every second day, but from January you should start. If you have a great background, like you are very naturally good in maths, etc., you can think of postponing it. So बच्चों, how do you prepare this? Do you need to absolutely correct? I can see some of your online friends right giving the answer. So बच्चों, for example, you see these articles in front of you. There are two ways to memorize. That is what we do in our current affairs classes. यही करते हैं हम class में. We give you question, we ask you to write it. So I am behaving just like that. And in self-study also, same thing should be done. So now let me tell you what do we do. If you are not able to recall, देखो, if you are able to recall, then you don't need my advice. As I told you that, then self-study is best for you. But if you're not able to recall for some reason, then I'll tell you how to handle this situation. देखिए, what you do is, when you study these things from bare act or study this from a polity book, the moment you read these articles one by, this is what I did. The moment you read these articles one by one, first you read it one by one separately, and then try to see that can I create a connection between them through a story. If you can link these articles in your mind using some dots through a story, that is how there is a story which I can frame where each of these fits, you are done. I'll give an example. So for example, look at the first article. I don't even need to look at it because there is a story in the head, and that story will help you to understand everything. You can also do that. That's the easiest way to memorize things. Take the dots, connect them through a story, close your eyes, feed it in your mind forever, and done. Example. So for example, unless there is a specific act of the parliament. Why act? Because through act we create laws. So unless there is a specific act of the parliament which specifically talks about some power given to center or state to put a tax, they cannot. So if center or state want to impose a tax, example GST, center says, "Bhai, I'll put a GST," state says, "I'll put a GST." There must be a law. Without a specific law, they cannot. That is what the first article says, right? So I fed this in the mind and I told myself that my name is center or my name is state. Can I go to citizens and say, pay GST? No, I cannot. Unless there is an act of the parliament. Okay, that means there should be an act. Okay, done. Easy. Second, if there is an act which says, yes, you can put GST, I should know my boundaries. Up to where I can go. What are the things I can include? What are the things, to what extent I can go? I should know my periphery. So if you give me power and tell me that, sir, you can speak anything you feel like, I'll say, is there a boundary? You'll say, yeah, reasonable restriction. I'll say, acha, okay. So every act can have that kind of boundary. That is what the second article says. Check the list. The second article in that list which I have given you says that we can impose the taxes under the act if it is mentioned that center or state has the power, that we should know up to what extent they can go. And within that extent only I can create taxes. Okay, easy. This is a layman way of memorizing. Then look at the third one, for example. The third one is 246. Now, 246 is a very popular one because everybody knows it. Union list, state list, concurrent list, which is technically called as list 1, list 2, list 3. So which means what is mentioned in that list, Schedule 7, it is mentioned in the list in great details that which are the precise taxes, which are the precise areas in which center can put a tax, which are the activities where center can put a tax, and which are the activities where state can put a tax. Precisely mentioned in that article. Okay, now starts the preciseness. Pehle to they were saying normal things that you cannot put a tax unless there is a law. ठीक है? Second one tells me my boundaries, that up to what extent I can go. Third one tells me precisely that this is what you can tax. If there is a producer, who can tax? If there is somebody who is giving services, who can tax? So for example, center can tax manufacturing, state can tax services, example. Or state can tax sales, example. Who can tax export, import? Everything is mentioned in this article, which is article 246. Then comes your article 269. In 269, it is mentioned, ab soch ke dekho, in the story, what will be the next thing in the story? Because so far story looks very smooth. Unless there is a law, you cannot put a tax. Then it tells you the gravity, the extent to which you can put a tax. The third one tells you precise entries where center or state can put a tax. And when everything has been mentioned, yet suppose there is some scope of fight. And what will be the scope of fight? So if something crosses the boundary, produced in Maharashtra, sold in Madhya Pradesh, oh, interstate. Up there is confusion. Federal polity, confusion. So which act of the parliament will tell me that how to solve this conflict and who will prevail over this act? 269 will tell me that if interstate sale is happening, one state to another, this act says, center, you play a big role. Because if center is not given the power to regulate this, then Maharashtra will say, whatever I say is correct, I will put a tax. Madhya Pradesh will say, no, it was sold in my state, I will put a tax. Now they will keep fighting. So that is the reason that this power is given to center, that if something is crossing the boundary, you take care. Now, these are your acts. Then comes 246A. Okay, A means amendment. All right. Then 269 amendment. Acha, 269 ka amendment. Okay, nice. Then 279 amendment. That means it must be something new. Yeah, these three are GST. Things related to GST. So what is this one saying? 246A. 246A says that GST is, acha, what is the slogan of GST? One nation, one tax. But GST is a tax where both center and state can interfere and they can create rules. That is what this mentions. So 246A says center and state don't fight, both of you can create rules related to GST. So wow. And then it says but when it comes to interstate, center has the power. This is what it says. But it does not tell us what power. It only says center has the power. You say, okay. Then you go to the next one. 269, as a jump, 269. This tells you that whenever something crosses the boundary, because what did 269 tell you? 269 told you that during interstate trade, center will dominate. Now 269A says, in GST, if there is something which crosses the boundary, center will impose the tax, center will collect the tax, and then center will distribute the tax between itself and the relevant state. Oh, everything done by center. That is what it says. And then it says, 279A says that the president within a given time frame must create GST council. And GST council is an institution where all the decisions related to GST are taken. But that's it, over, story over. So these are the acts of the parliament that we have to write. Samajh rahe ho, how to create it. So what did we do? And why did I write all these things in this sequence? I could have changed the sequence also. The moment I change, my story will break down. So which means as a student, if I have to memorize heavy stuff, what do I need to do? I need to find a sequence which is easy to memorize, and then I need to use that sequence. Where do we use this concept? When I teach poverty, when I teach things like, for example, women empowerment, gender parity in the class, there I use this formula. So bring some act of the parliament, then put them in a sequence, create a story and discuss it like 4 or 5 times, etc. and then write it. So we have done the discussion, online and offline, guys. Now let's write, let's write. Because you have come for a session where you should take maximum advantage. Write it, please. You want to write it in notebook also, you can write, handout also you can write. This is a shortcut way of writing. Because if I write from the bare act, it will become so lengthy and exhaustive that you will find it difficult to memorize. So I've just taken the summary. So bacho, what are we doing today? We are doing current affairs. This is how current affairs has to be done. And as I promised you that I'll tell you how to do current affairs in an exhaustive manner so that you can get good marks in the exam. This is the proper way. Done? Good. So one of the questions, as you can see, if this question will be asked in UPSC, we will say it is static. I will also call it static, but the reason it will be asked is because it is in the news. So I don't know whether to call it current or static. Ideally static, but asked because of current. So I'll call it hybrid. Okay, I'll tell you at the end of the session. Some of our friends are asking that if I have not done newspaper, only done magazine. So if guys online and offline, you have such queries, you ask me at the end of the session, I'll definitely answer. I'll tell you. And as I told you, I am little biased towards self-study. I feel that if you plan to do self-study, I think it's the best idea. But I'm also very sort of clear in my mind about one thing. If something bothers you to the extent that it has the potential to spoil your result, fear help should be taken. That is what my philosophy of preparation is. That if you can do handle it on your own is the best. It saves time. But the moment it gives trouble, help. Okay, done. Now, let's come back because my agenda is the primary agenda was also to teach you GST. I don't want to deviate from that. So we will focus on that as well because we have to learn, no, it's current affairs. We have to learn it. So the first thing that we did is, ab dekh rahe ho, how we are tracing the things. I read it. From here, I got just one idea that, acha, they are saying center state ka fight, matlab constitution. Done. Now, second thing is this part. Here dekho, it says how GST reforms boost consumption growth. Consumption, okay. Now I need to know what is consumption. Because consumption, they have confused me. They are saying with GST, consumption will rise. Which consumption? What are they talking about? Yeah, so I don't know. Because I'm new to UPSC, I need to prepare. I'll go back to macro and I'll search my NCERT class note or whatever textbooks I'm studying and I'll try to see what is consumption. The moment I search, I'll find this. I'll find an equation called as GDP is equal to C plus I. Sorry. First, we should write. वैसे sequence is not important, but if we write it like this, it's better. This, right? So, what is C, guys? Consumption, technical name. Give me the technical name, please. Online and offline, guys, please type. Consumption, expenditure. Consumption, expenditure. Household consumption expenditure. You're not wrong, but not entirely correct. Vishy, you are right. Online, perfect. Close. Good. It is called as private final consumption expenditure. That's the technical name. Private final consumption expenditure. So now UPSC can ask you this. Private final consumption expenditure. What am I trying to tell you? I told you that I'm trying to just behave like as if I'm appearing in the exam. The moment I see a news, my mind should run in 360-degree direction and tell me that what are the things that can be asked in the exam. And in 5 minutes, I have to do all these things. If I'm doing self-study or I'm trying to prepare for prelims, current affairs cannot be looked at only current affairs. If there will be a problem. In the exam, I might not be able to solve. I have to do it like this. So quickly, I'll say, acha, theek hai, it's C. C means private final consumption expenditure. What is G? Very nice. Government final consumption expenditure. What is I? Investment. Investment ka technical name, guys. Capital. Capital formation is right. Investment is right. But technical name. Absolutely. Good. One answer I got online. It is called as gross capital formation. But you guys were not wrong. You were saying investment, right? You were saying capital formation. That is also right. Let me tell you. You're not wrong. You're right. Third was somebody said capex. That is also right. All these answers are right. But the technical answer is this. Gross capital formation. What is this? NX? Export minus import. Export minus import. What are the components of gross capital formation? Components of gross capital formation. Components. Macro. Try. Online, offline. Please try. Try to recall. I told you, current and static has to be integrated. Then I'll show you the current part here. Some of the things you are saying is right, close, but technically you have to be sound in this. So let me help you. And next time when you open your macro or class notes, please try to memorize these parts. And these are the focus areas of economics, high priority areas. Is we call high priority. See this. So for example, this is how you react. The moment you see the word consumption, Fatapat go back to your static, open your textbook, open your class note and start to see where did I see consumption, why GST is connected to consumption. And then the moment you see these words, this is the best way to revise. You can't revise it one day before exam and say, chalo, today we will revise investment. It will never happen. You have to revise it on the go, on the go. So how do you revise? Essay. See, this is called as investment gross capital formation. Immediately I'll recall and tell my mind, what is investment? Capex. Acha, Capex can be in buildings, all right? Capex can be in machines, equipments. So first could be machines and equipment. The second is real estate, matlab buildings. Wow. Third, I heard somebody say this and you are right. Third is change in inventory or stock. So whosoever said absolutely correct. Fourth one. What is fourth? There is a component. Fourth. Fourth is called as valuables, not value addition. Valuables. What are valuables? Gold, silver, diamond, costly painting. That is also called as investment because they act as store of value. So how many components are there in investment? 4. Where I say for everything, there are components which you must memorize for UPSC. Can you please tell me what is the meaning of gross fixed capital formation? GFCF. Here. Sorry, here. What is gross fixed capital formation? Anybody online, offline? Correct. These two, gross fixed capital formation. Absolutely correct. So what is the formula? The formula is gross capital formation is equal to GFCF plus valuables and change in inventory. That is the formula. Absolutely correct. So whenever you study, for example, current affairs, in 5 minutes, 6 minutes, you do it like this. So what will happen because of this style of studying? You will be able to clearly see the linkage. You will be able to see clearly that, oh, wow, amazing. This is how static and current is linked. So now if they ask you question where one part is static, one part is current in GST, you will play with the concept. Ab dekho, next one here itself, I'll show you something. Because of trade war, do you think export and import will happen freely? There will be problem. Trade war matlab restrictions. So this one is getting restricted. We don't know what will happen. Because of trade war, because the other countries are banning us, they are saying don't sell this, do that, interference, disturbance. Do you really believe that the business community of India is feeling so happy and elated that they will start to invest and create factories after factories during trade war? No. In fact, foreign investment is also not coming. So we are finding it difficult to increase this. Little difficult. Now, next this one, government expenditure. Government has anyway so much things to do, so many things to do. Defense, subsidies, foreign policy is in trouble, infrastructure, so many things they have to do. So there is a limit. Otherwise, fiscal deficit will rise. Anyway, our debt is very high. So there is a limit. Now government is looking at people and saying, people, please buy something, buy air conditioner, buy vehicle, costly items you buy. And what are people buying? People are buying pen. Government say, kya kar rahe ho? What are you doing? People are saying, of course, we need this. Government is saying, no, please buy something costly like car. So people are saying, car, 28% GST. Then government says, please buy refrigerator. People are saying, refrigerator, 18% GST, 18. So government says, please buy something heavy. People are saying, thank you so much, government, don't want to buy. Government says, if all these things are not improving, this is also not improving, then the GDP will go down. So government says, let me reduce GST. So what will happen if GST comes down? Prices will come down. So for example, there is a car whose price is 12 lakh rupees. Government remove the GST or reduce, not remove, reduce the GST. Because of reduced GST, how much tax will people save? Suppose example, arbitrary example, 2 lakhs. There is a reduction in GST. So now GST rates are low. So government says 12 lakh ka car will become 10 lakhs. How many lakhs will people save? 2 lakhs. The moment you tell this to somebody from the middle class that, hey, The 12 lakh car is available for 10 lakh rupees. Best time for you to buy. Dekho, we middle class people are very innocent. The moment somebody shows us a chocolate, we don't know whether we want the chocolate or not, or whether we have diabetes, etc. We'll jump after it. We'll say chocolate, low price, pehle will buy. Innocent. So government is showing us that chocolate, buy car, please, car. So people are saying, where is the car? So government is saying inventory, unsold stock. Since 7 months, there was huge unsold stock and companies were crying. They were saying, we can't sell. So now government says, 12 lakh ka car becomes 10 lakh, please go. And now people are saying that government, but loan is very costly, EMI. Government says loan is costly. Repo rate reduced. So they reduce the repo rate. So now loan is cheaper. Now GST reduced. And now government, and where did they reduce the GST? Very clever. They reduced the GST on 2-3 things. First, essentials. Essential items like medicine, some life-saving medicine, insurance, they're essential things. So government said, reduce the GST, make it 0. People said, wow, we can save money there. Government said, save money. Then the GST on car reduced. So on one hand, you're reducing it on essential. On the other hand, you're reducing it on costly items. And now you are giving a signal to people that, see, essentials have become cheaper, save the money. Cars have become cheaper, give the money as EMI and buy the car. Wow. So the money that I save on toothpaste, government says, why will you keep it in the pocket? Use it as EMI. And middle class says, wow, during New Year and Christmas, now we can buy a car. Because toothpaste is not costly, medicine is not costly. So what is the psychology working? Psychology says animal spirits are high. Animal spirits means consumption, urge to consume. It's very high now. So what are we doing? Essentials, low GST. These consumer goods, these are called consumer durables. Refrigerator, air conditioner, car. These are the things government wants to sell. So first, GST reduced, urge to buy, repo rate is down, take loan easily, essentials are cheaper, save money. So government says, essentials are cheaper, put it in the pocket, money, but don't put it in the pocket permanently, go and give it as EMI and buy the car. Car sale has increased. What is the government doing? Now government says, see, India does not need anyone. We are a consumption-led economy. China, US, etc. Go take rest. We don't need you. Our GDP is rising. And what did the government of India tell the companies of India? That, see, there is a demand of refrigerator, air conditioner, and car. So all the investors of India, please create new factories and produce cars. So now government is saying, you supply and you demand. So what is GST helping us to do? They will ask you this question in UPSC. GST is helping us to increase our savings. Why? Prices are low now. So here people will save 2 lakh rupees. So they are helping us to increase savings. They are helping us to increase consumption, aggregate demand, aggregate supply, and hence GDP. All these can be asked in UPSC. And which of the following is the impact of lowering or declining GST? All these. This is how prelims questions are created. So you will feel that it is static area, but it is affected by current, or it is derived from current. That is the example. So what should you write in your notebook? Yes, immediately you should write this equation, and you should write this first line. That is how we integrate static and current. This is the best way to study. So please write. GDP is equal to, write it, bacho. Please write it. So GDP is equal to C plus G plus I plus an X. And then you should write that declining GST. So declining GST leads to these things. C plus G plus I. And from my side, you write one task that you should study the definition of each of these components. This will make your preparation complete. This will make your preparation complete. So, you know what I'm doing with you? I'm doing the same thing which I do in our current affairs classes. I'm not making any changes, but same style we are doing. I'm making you write, etc. So please write. Feel that as if you are doing a real class. Otherwise, you won't be able to take full advantage. This is how you should prepare. Done? Let's come back. Let's get into the thrill of this concept called as GST. It's such a beautiful concept. Now see, there comes your proper current affairs. We were doing current affairs only because it showed in the newspaper that GST leads to increase in consumption. Now we saw the reason. And now we are going to see here that what is the government trying to do with GST. So in your handout, page number 1. Open page number 1, please. And this is how you should prepare from current affairs perspective. What does it tell you? It says GST definition. This is our topic. First is GST 2017, second is GST 2020-25, which means the second phase of GST. So what are we going to study? Definition. What is the definition of GST? And these things we have to do quickly for current affairs because it's current affairs. We have to do it quickly. So what is the definition of GST? GST is an indirect tax. So anybody who can define, be confident. We are not judging you. It's totally fine. Online and offline kids, guys, please give the definition. No judgments, nothing. It's a practice. It's a way to learn. Please. Okay, fine. Good try. Yes. Okay, that's also good. Good try, I would say. So technically, whatever you guys said was not wrong. It is correct. One of your online friend has mentioned a single unified indirect tax on the principle of one nation, one tax. So absolutely correct. One of your online friend, the name is Silent UPSC Preparation, has spoken very loud definition. Very nice. Very nice. Guys, appearances are very deceptive, mind you, but very nice. So nice. Okay, now guys, from this side, somebody. Anybody wants to try the definition of GST? Your two friends tried. Sahi bol rahe. Your online friend also tried. Good definition. You said something. Can you repeat? Yeah. So guys, okay. So if you listen to your friends, 2-3 definitions came out, online and offline. So I'm going to summarize all the definitions. Some of you said it's an indirect tax. Absolutely correct. What is wrong in this? Then your friend said, some of your friends said it is a tax on consumption. Absolutely correct. Many of your friends said it's a unified tax. Absolutely correct. One nation, one tax. Many taxes subsumed. Some of your friends said that it tried to reduce the cascading effect. Cascading means tax on tax on tax on tax. Absolutely correct. Absolutely. Some of our friends said that it is a tax where both center and state are involved. Absolutely correct. Brilliant point. That is what we wrote in the articles of the Constitution, that now center and state both can tax. So there is no fight. So these are the things. But five of your friends, 2 offline, 3 online, they used something specific, something very interesting. They said GST is a tax on supply of goods and services. This is the real definition. Actually, this is the definition of GST. And whatever other things you guys were saying, those are the features of GST. Definition is different, features are different. Ab dekho the difference between these two. I'm going to explain to you. Listen to it very carefully. And why this is a beautiful word called supply. I'll give an example. Now imagine, bacho, that I sell you this pen, right? The moment I sell you this pen, it is called sales. You receive the pen, then you make the payment to me. So suppose you made a payment of 100 rupees to me. That 100 rupees is called as consideration. Consideration is nothing but payment. So I gave you the pen, you made the payment of 100 rupees to me. The moment you made the payment of 100 rupees, immediately I'll contact the government of India and say, hey government, I have collected a payment of 100 rupees. But along with 100 rupees payment, I also collected 10 rupees extra called as VAT, 10%. So how much money will you give me? 100 for me and 10 for government, because VAT will be taken by government. So in a system called as VAT, if I sell you this pen, the moment you give me 100, only at that time you will give me 10 rupees, and then I'll call the government and say, government, take your 10 rupees, that's your VAT. Government says, thank you. Which means that government will have to wait till the time the payment is made. Why? Because VAT is a tax on sales. And sale is a word which is complete when goods are transferred and consideration is received. So when I transfer the pen to you and then you give the payment to me, then sale is complete. So when do you need to pay the VAT to the government of India? After the completion of the sale, because VAT is a tax on sales. Now the government of India says, no. Why will I wait? If this party, the producer, gives the pen to you, government says, I call it supply. Government says, this is not sale, this is supply. Now government says, supplied, bill generated, invoice generated, pay the GST. So if I give the pen to you and I give you the invoice where you signed and you said pen received, but now government of India says pen received, no. I'll say, but payment not received. Government says, I don't care. Payment not received, what will I do? Pay. So government will put a pressure over me, pay the GST. I'll say, I have not received the GST. Government says, no, sale has happened. Supply has happened. Sale nahi, supply has happened. I'll say, no, but VAT is a tax on sale. Government says, yeah, GST is a tax on supply. Okay. So if I write the invoice and I give the material to you, government says, supply complete. Material received. Make the payment, you seller. So I'll say, please government, I have not received. Government says, I don't know. Within a given period of time, you have to make the payment of GST because supply is complete. That's the difference. So if you're writing the definition of GST, what do you feel is the most important thing that you should have written in the definition? The word supply. If you don't mention supply, in mains you will not get marks. UPSC will feel that it is incomplete preparation. And the second, in prelims, they will put the word supply. I'll show you the game of supply in 10 minutes. How important is supply? So what definition will you write in your notebook? Please write. Let's not waste time. Please write definition of supply in your handout only. Sorry, handout. Let's use your handout just like the way we conduct our current affairs session. I say let's use it like that. So please write GST. Under the definition part, please write GST is an indirect tax imposed over supply of goods and services. Supply of goods and services. Right, bacho? Now, what are the features of GST? Dekho, if you are doing current affairs, GST 2.2, etc., within 10 minutes, you should do features also. Because you never know which feature will be figuring in the current affairs. And we should always do a 360-degree preparation of current affairs. You take GST 2.0, go one step ahead, go one step backwards and do a 360-degree review. What is 360-degree? 360-degree means you go a little backward, you go a little ahead, that what can they ask? And then you connect GST with other subjects like polity. This is 360-degree. The normal notion of current affairs is forward linkage, backward linkage. Matlab you study news like GST, you see what GST can be connected with what things in future. Then you see GST can be connected with what concepts in economics like consumption, etc. That is forward and backward linkage. But I feel that is not the right way to prepare current affairs now. This method used to be good 5 years back. Abhi it is 360-degree. The moment you open GST, immediately your mind should tell you that what are the legal provisions? Acha, okay, polity. Go to polity. Then try to see that, oh, how will GST help in social justice? GS2. How will it help in making the society equitable? Does it follow the principle of DPSP? GS2, I'll show you that. This is called 360-degree. Abhi now the requirement of UPSC is slightly different. It is 360-degree kind of requirement. So we should also do the features and we should see, is it helping the society? Chalo karte, let us do. First feature, without wasting time, what will you write? First, indirect tax. Number 1, please write indirect tax. And bacho, how do you make notes of current affairs? You never write full sentences. We could have written, it is an indirect tax. Why? Why to waste time? So we'll simply write number 1, indirect tax. Number 2, so Bachu, can you please tell me, it is a tax on production or consumption? Consumption. So please write number 2, tax on consumption. Dekho, we are saving the literature. Tax on consumption. Bachu, more literature means more clutter. Third, so origin-based tax or destination-based tax? Brilliant. Please write third, destination-based. Very good. So single GST structure, dual GST structure or triple GST structure? CGST, SGST and IGST. So single, double or triple? Dual. It is called dual. Why it is called dual? State and center. From the perspective of who is the power center? State and center. So please write dual GST. Dual GST in India. Dual GST in India. And then put a hyphen dash. And what will you write? CGST, comma, SGST, and comma, IGST. And why do we call it dual? Because the authority which implements, collects, etc. is only two, center and state. Next point. Yes. So, one nation, one tax. One nation, one tax. Matlab unified. One nation, one tax. Who will tell me what is the meaning of one nation, one tax? It's a political slogan. No, it's not. It's an economic slogan. But what is the meaning of one nation, one tax? There's a technical meaning of this. A brilliant meaning of this. Because they can ask you this question. Which of the following is the inference or meaning or implication of one nation, one tax? Same rates applicable across India. That's number one. And number two. No. First is same tax rates applicable across India. That is first implication. And the second, Achha, by the way, if I may ask you very quickly, that is GST and VAT connected? GST and VAT different or connected? GST is based on VAT principle. Actually, in a very lighter way, don't use it anywhere in interview and mains. On a very lighter way, if somebody asks me in a layman term that what is GST, I always tell them that GST is a glorified VAT. Thoda bada VAT. Right? So it's like Sehwag and Sachin Tendulkar, that kind of thing. So Sehwag is VAT, Sachin Tendulkar is GST, or similar. So if you ask me that what is, which principle of VAT is used in GST? One principle, two principle in fact, value added. It is a tax on value added. GST is also a tax on value added. Second is input tax credit. VAT also has a provision of input tax credit. GST also has a provision of input tax credit. There is only one problem there. The problem is under VAT, if something from Maharashtra is sold in Arunachal Pradesh, input tax cannot be claimed. Input tax credit not available because states tell each other that no, I will not cooperate. Problem. But under GST, one nation, one tax. So if Karnataka sells something to Jammu Kashmir, input tax credit available. So this is the better form of VAT because VAT has a problem. Interstate sales, the input tax credit not available. But in GST, interstate sale, input tax credit available. So what is the meaning of one nation, one tax? Please write one nation, one tax and put a hyphen. One nation, one tax, hyphen. Please write number A. Number A. Same slab applicable across India. Same slab applicable across India. Across India. And number B. Yes, ITC available on interstate sale also. Input tax credit available. ITC available over interstate sale also. Next point. Can you please tell me that on export, do we impose GST? No? So if I make a statement, tell me if I'm right or wrong. The GST over export is 0%. What is it called as? Zero rated? वही तो बोलते हैं. Zero rated, 0%, right? That is not right. We don't say it is 0%, we call it zero rated. Why to use such a sophisticated word zero? You could call it 0% also. But the moment you call it 0%, then you are trying to say that if India is exporting this pen to US, India is imposing a 0%, zero is a number, whole number. We are imposing a 0% tax over a territory which is a foreign territory. Sovereign. So sovereignty nullified here. How can you impose a tax on US by saying that if you are exporting something to US, India is exporting something to US, you are putting a 0% tax. You are saying that there is a number 0 which you are putting over US. You cannot. It is outside our territorial jurisdiction. So we don't call it 0%. 0% is a number. We call it 0 rated. Your ratings is as if there is no tax exemption. So we don't call it 0%, we call it 0 rated. That is why this new term, 0 rated. Because if you put 0%, actually you are exerting your rights over the other territories, that my goods will be taxed. No, 0% means today it is 0, tomorrow it will be 1. That is the meaning of 0%. So whenever Government of India says 0% tax on this, today it is 0%, but we have the power now to increase it to 1. So we can't call it 0, it's called 0 rated. An important term. So please write. Exports are 0 rated. Next feature is a feature. Next feature. Exports are 0 rated. Yes. Exports are 0 rated. And next one is, do we put taxes on import? GST on import? Yeah, we do. We do. Please write. GST is imposed over imports. GST is imposed over imports. Because it is our territorial jurisdiction. We will impose GST. Mind you, government does not leave an opportunity of imposing a tax. They will never leave an opportunity. So yes, there is. Now, next point. So, you know that when GST was introduced, Bacho, last point. When GST was introduced, the state governments complained that, sorry, if you introduce GST, then our revenue will fall. Our revenue will decline. So what was the promise of the center? I will compensate you. So a state said, how will you compensate? Center said, not from my pocket, of course. Right? I will impose a cess called as GST compensation cess. So please write. GST compensation cess. This is the last feature. GST compensation cess to compensate states. To compensate states. For now, we will stop it there. Ab dekh rahe ho, bacho, what are we doing? It doesn't take much time. Although I was telling you how to prepare, etc. That's the reason it's taking little time. But if you go in a real class condition, it will not take even this much time. Because for prelims, you have to fast pace it. Without compromising quality, you have to cover all the points. So dekho, this is the best way to prepare current affairs. The reason being, the reason being that here current is also taken care, static is also taken care. But where is the current part in the last point? Well, last point, padho, GST compensation cess. So on which items, current affairs, on which items does the center collect the GST compensation cess? If you buy a luxury car, there they will collect. If you buy aerated drinks, those aerated drinks in hotel, restaurant that you buy, uske upar they collect it. On tobacco product, they collect it. On coal, they collect it. So there's a list. Let me show you the list. And that will become your current affairs part. Very, very important. See? These are the items on which GST compensation cess was collected. So there itself you should write luxury car, aerated drink, coal and tobacco and related product, right? And this cess started from 2017. Now, under GST 2.0, cess has changed. So now the government is only considering the cess on tobacco and related products. On other things, gone. Right? So these are gone. Now it is collected here. And on the other things, where the cess has been removed, what has been imposed? 40% GST. They have been put in the 40% slab. So these three things, government said remove it. See, GST compensation cess removed. Everybody was happy. Yes, nice. Now we'll buy luxury car. So says, 1 minute hold. Cess removed, but you are now being put under the 40% slab. So they have been punished. And now government is saying, you sir, cess will continue. Okay. So UPSC will ask you a question from current affairs that on which items the compensation cess is there currently under GST 2.0, tobacco and related products. Just tobacco, bidi, cigarette, cigar, gutka. Don't ask me the application of all this. Don't even check. Right. So as I just memorize the name. You don't need to check. Go on the Indian streets, you'll find it. Right? We believe in a philosophy. Wherever we go, we leave our mark behind. We have not left even. Can you imagine this? You go to Paris. They were showing in the news the other day. They said Paris is red. We thought it is red because of Santa Claus. Then we got to know that this is red because of something else. Then they went to New York. Huh? New York also it is red. Unbelievable. Same red that you see in India. Howrah Bridge. It is totally red. Howrah Bridge started to corrode actually. Then there was one IAS officer who made a video, and he's a young IAS officer like you guys. He made a video and he circulated it everywhere, and he said that, this people who are doing this when the train crosses Howrah Bridge, they're waiting for Howrah Bridge. That when train will go there, then boom, leave the mark behind. Yes. So that young IAS officer, he made a video and he said, stop doing all this. And he tagged Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan, Ajay Devgan, Akshay Kumar. Right. And then he removed them. Right. So this is how it is done. You have one of your online friends say, in London, if you do it, then they charge a very hefty fine. No, but we manage. We sneak. We find a way. Right? We are Indians. We are a tropical country. We'll always find a way. So anyway, Bacho, on a serious note, so you'll have to go by this one. Let's go back. Now let's go back. We just did the features, after features journey from UPSC perspective. So please open your handout again and go to which part? Page number 2. First, we'll go to page number 2. Page number 2. So on page number 2, we are putting 1954, 1999. So note it down, please. See, this is the summarized form. So 1954, the system of GST, formal system of GST, started in France, and the credit goes to Maurice Law, France. Then 1999, it was conceptualized in India by Dr. C. Rangarajan, Bimal Jalan, and I.G. Patel. I.G. Patel. Then Asim Das Gupta Committee, 2000. Asim Das Gupta Committee. And 2004, Kelkar Task Force on FRBM Act recommended GST. So these are the timelines, important milestones. So here we are saying that these are important milestones which led to GST in India finally. Isko you have to memorize. And then finally, 2016, 101st Constitutional Amendment Act. So ideally, if I want to ask you a question, that can you please tell that in which subject should this 101st CA be asked? GST? GS paper 3, economics. It is always asked in GS paper 2. In GS paper 2 mains, it is like last year also it was asked in GS paper 2, this one. It is always asked in GS paper 2, always, as a rule. Ideally belongs to GS 3, but because it is constitutional amendments for GS 2 in the mains. So they can ask you these questions in prelims also, mains also. Polity, because it is related to constitutional changes and amendments. Why do you memorize this? Because they can give you this in match the following, or they can give you this as a statement related to basic statement of GST. But in mains, if they ask you discuss the evolution of GST, for there you will not write political story. There you will have to write these, because you won't have time and space. So that is why we memorize this. Now that we have done this, बच्चों, please come back to page number 1 and please answer a question. आप मुझे बताएंगे, please answer a question. That if you look at GST in India, ये देखिए, this is your center and state वाला GST. These are the taxes which were subsumed under GST. है ना? These taxes were subsumed. So if I ask you a question that how many taxes were subsumed by center and state together under GST system, can you please tell me the number of taxes which were subsumed? Count kalo, it is there. Center and state together. Total. So 7 plus 6, 13. These are the important taxes which were subsumed. But these are not the total number of taxes. The total number of taxes are 17. So you increase this by 2 and you increase this by 2. Just example, taxes on lottery, betting and gambling, separated them out. Similarly, there you see no additional excise duty. Split it. Talk about various types of additional excise duty in various component, various items. You split it, write it component wise. 2 will increase. So this will become 7 and 8. If you write the variety of this, it will become 2. This also, if you split it, 2 more added. So total number of taxes which are subsumed is actually 17. So from there, from the state 8, from center 8 and from state 9. 9. So 9 plus 8, so actually it is 17. And how many cess and surcharge has been subsumed? 13. 13 type of cess and surcharge. So in GST, 17 type of taxes by central government and state government plus 13 type of cess and surcharge. So you should write it in your handout. Dekho, there is something mentioned on page number 1 at the bottom, total. So what should you write in the total? 17 taxes plus 13 cess and surcharge. Write it like this, 17 plus 13. These numbers are important because it can be asked in UPSC. So UPSC earlier used to simply say that how many taxes, and they used to consider 13. But now they are becoming more specific. They are saying, tell us the real number. Real number is 17. The important taxes are 13. But if you split them, like this category, if you split, 2 more will be added. This one. So that is how they are saying. They are saying, no, give us the split figure. Okay, 17. 17 taxes and 13 cess. Now come to page number 2. Page number 2, guys. Online and offline kids. Working of GST. So can you tell me, in the first case, let's fill in the blanks quickly. This is the best form of revision. Quickly. Can you please tell me, if this pen has been produced in Delhi, Karol Bagh area, and it is sold in Dwarka area of Delhi, which tax will be applicable? What shall I write? Two taxes. Whenever something is being sold within a state, intra-state, then which tax is applicable? CGST and SGST. Now, again, Delhi to Delhi. So, Karol Bagh to Dwarka and Dwarka to, let's say, any Patel Nagar here, close by. Which tax will be imposed? Why same? CGST, SGST. You should also write it. Right? Now, let's take a pause. Let's come to question number MCQ. Question number 8. Question number 8, page number 9. Question number 8, please. Please answer the question. Suppose a good is supplied in the following order. How many times will GST be applied? How many times? Answer, बच्चों. Delhi to UP, interstate, CGST, SGST or IGST? IGST. Which article? 269A. Wonderful. So Delhi to UP one time. ये देखो यहाँ पे I have given this example, IGST. UP to Bihar, IGST. Bihar to Assam, IGST. Assam to your favorite country, 0%, which means not applicable. So how many times? What is the answer? 3 times. Now can you fill the second one? Delhi to Delhi, CGST and SGST. Delhi to MP, IGST. Very nice. UP to Maharashtra, IGST. Maharashtra to Tamil Nadu, IGST. Done. Now there is one more question. Can you please answer question number 9? Question number 9. Let everybody try. So guys, answer. Only one or both 1 and 2? One or two? One? One? One and two? One. One and two, one, two, one. Okay. The question says if a good is traded between USA and India, which means it can be either export or import. Exports are zero rated, imports are taxed. We don't know. So it is saying such trade is zero rated. Don't know. No idea. Because if it's import, then I don't know. It says traded. Traded can be export or import. The next part says exempted. Don't know. The third part says non-GST supply. No idea. So data insufficient. So since data insufficient is the option is not given here, the only close option to data insufficient is none of these. If data insufficient would have been given, that's the best answer. But in UPSC, when they give you MCQs, they don't give you the perfect options. They give you close to correct answers. Whatever is given from there, you have to select. You can't criticize UPSC. Why didn't give you data insufficient? They will not. So what is the answer? The answer is none of these. See, despite giving the correct answer, so I knew this will happen. Oh, I want to tell you something interesting here. You will smile, I know. Dekho. First, what did we do? I didn't directly ask you the question. First, what we did is we solved the question. We solved the concept and I checked all of you were correct. I did not get even a single wrong answer. When we were doing this, no, absolutely perfect answer so far in everything. Then I thought as an examiner who is making the paper that these kids are very good in economics. Let me trap them in literature. So I trapped you in literature, which means 360. Your mind has to run in all directions. Literature, CSAT, economics, logic, puzzle. Essay you have to think, bacho. Imagine I create 10 questions like this in UPSC. And those are the 10 questions whose theory you already know. You are good in the theory. Aapko pata hai sab, you know it. Problem. So how do we make sure that we don't go wrong in these kind of, don't take things for granted. Don't assume things, huh? Always be on alert mode, high alert mode all the time. That if this is a UPSC question, let me see if it wants me to think in a slightly different way. How will it come to you? Practice. Now, are you able to recall why I told you that when you implement that group wala formula which I gave you, economy, polity and geography, and I told you according to me the best strategy is that even if it takes 10 more days, but along with each chapter you solve 10 questions, PYQs and 10, it will give you an idea about in what direction they can take you. Okay? So that is very important. Now let's come back. In your handout, page number 2. Let's come to page number 2. Page number 1 is done. Page number 2 is done. Now come to page number 3. On page number 3, you have table 1, bacho. Can you see table 1? What is table 1? Table 1 mein no title has been mentioned. It only says GST slab. So in front of table 1, please write 2017. So this is the slab for 2017. This is the slab for 2017. This is the slab. So 2017. Now, see in 2017, what was the rate structure of GST? But this is where the trick is. बहुत ध्यान से देखिए. What is the slab? Different slabs in India relative to GST: 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%, 3%, and 0.25. These are our total slabs. Let us quickly run through it and see what is there in 0%. In 0%, there is basic and essential items. I'll come out of the frame. 0 and essential items. Then in 5%, mass consumption. Mass consumption is something which is close to necessity. Then we have 12%, which is processed food and other items. Right? Processed food like tomato ketchup. 18% standard item like TV, fridge, phone, basic phones. 28% 5-star hotels, movie ticket, luxury goods, sin goods. Right, so luxury car was here. 3% value of precious metal in jewelry like gold, silver, platinum, and 0.25% is raw diamond, raw gold. But jewelry becomes 3, raw things become 0.25. This is the data. But in this data, there is something interesting which is hidden. वो छिपा हुआ है, that is hidden there. Let me show you that. So if you refer to table number 2, देखिए बच्चों, see table number 2 please, then I'll show you something. This is your table number 2. In table number 2, what is mentioned? It says there are different slab rates, and then here it is mentioned percentage of total GST revenue collection, which means if government is collecting 100 rupees GST in 1 year, which slab contributes the maximum in the collection? So through 5% slab, government collects 7% of its total GST. And through 12%, 5% of the GST, through 18%, 65, 28, 11, 3, 28 plus 0.25 is 12%. This is the percentage of GST collection, and that is the slab rate. You please fill it in your handout. Please fill it, bacho, in your handout. Now, from here, please give an answer to me. Which slab rate gives the maximum GST collection? Maximum is given by 18, and minimum 12. Minimum is at 12 and maximum is 18. 12 and 18. Let's come to an MCQ. Question number 5. Current affairs. Question number 5, minimum 12% and maximum, that's your answer. This type of questions are asked in current affairs. This type of question that we saw, this is a current affairs data which was released by the government of India recently. And these are the type of questions which can be converted into current affairs. So is memorizing data also important? है ना? बिल्कुल. अब देखो, just look at the board. I want to ask you something. Look at the board, please. If you are the government of India, you don't want a complicated GST. So which tax slab looks little odd to you and you will say that I can merge it with something else? Which one? That is what the government did. Government said this is something which is not contributing a lot. But if you remove 12 and you understand what is 12, we saw that. In our handout, we saw it. Please come to page number 3. Dekho, what is 12? Processed food and other items. We are talking about basic stuff. So do you think that this 12% will be shifted to 18? Oh, people will be hurt. Consumption will not rise. So a maximum out of this will be either shifted to 5 or 0. If there is something which is very crucial, let's say life-saving medicine, if some life-saving medicine is here, then we'll say we should make it 0. We'll directly put it in 0. But if something is normal, we'll say put it in 5. That is what the government did. So the 5% slab swelled up. More items were included. Okay, this is something which was done. Now, 18% is our bulk. So we didn't touch 18% away. Then we went to 28. And we checked 28. And we saw, dekho, 28, it says 5-star hotel, movie ticket, luxury goods, sin goods. Anybody who looks for luxury and costly item, government of India says 28%. But then the government of India realized if I take 28%, people will not buy cars. So the government said, okay, let me remove this and let me create something new. A costly, centralized air system, air conditioning system, AC, a double door, big refrigerator, big ones, car, 4-wheeler, normal car, small car, etc., normal bike. So what did the government do? Government took all these things from here and government said 18. Consumer durables. And then the government said here, super luxury cars, big things, sin goods, right? Like alcohol, right? Alcohol. Alcohol is not put under GST. So suppose that there is a beer without alcohol. That is here. is very important, guys. This point you take very seriously. So if there is a beer available with zero alcohol, it comes here now. Government says sin good. And all those things which government thinks is unhealthy or super luxury, it is there. So alcohol is not included in GST. Alcohol for human consumption is out. And what is in? Other drinks. So if you use the word beer, you will have to mention beer without alcohol. Because in beer there is alcohol also. So if the beer has alcohol, here it is outside GST. Other taxes are applicable. VAT, excise is very important. So 28% now has become 40. Isko government says make it 40 because this is super luxury plus bad for health. So now it has been made 40. This one is gone. So what happened to 12%? Something shifted to 5, something shifted to 0. And what happened to 28? Something shifted to 18, and then rest of the thing made 40. And the government did not touch this one. Are you getting the logic of what government did? Why did they do it? To promote consumption. Consumption. So now let's go to the new tax slab and let us see what the government has done. So come to page number 4. Page number 4. On page number 4, table 5, bacho. Page 4, table 5. This is what you have to do for the current GST. See, this is your GST 2.0. Dekhe, GST 2.0, what does it say? GST 2.0, 0%. Can you see something that I have added more items and explanation is slightly lengthy compared to the 2017 GST. Look at 0% slab. It says basic or essential items. Then I've given example, fresh milk, fruit, vegetable, and then life insurance, life-saving medicine, educational things, etc. You can see these things. Why? Why we have added so many things here? Because these are the new things which the government has made zero. Current affairs. So all these things that you see, no, either it is newly added or it is important, existed before, but it is important. Hence, we have written all these things here. Just like this insurance, it was never zero. It has been made zero now. Earlier it was high, but it has been reduced and finally made to zero. Life-saving medicine, it was never zero earlier. Now it is zero. So what is the government of India doing? Government of India has added these points here. That is why we are highlighting it and we are saying, no, this has to be memorized. Like notebook and pencil, newly added. Earlier there was 5% there. Now it is 0. So you have to memorize this for UPSC. Next one, dekho. Next one says 5%. In 5%, see so many items I have written. No, this is again all these things mostly are newly added. Either existed and important or newly added. That is why this list, I have given this complete list here. What do we do in current affairs? This is how we sort out things. But do you believe these are the only items in 5%? This list of 5% is like thousands of pages. But these are the things we have to memorize for UPSC. But this is the game. That is what we have to do. Reduce our burden. The next one is 18%. See, in 18%, all the consumer durables you will see mostly here. See, TV, fridge, phone, two-wheeler, small car, again, air conditioner. Okay. That is what Government of India wants. Government wants that people should spend. Government wants us to spend more money. That is why this 18% is the trick of the Government of India. And then what is the next one? 40%. 40%, we see what are the things mentioned? See, pan masala, aerated drinks, etc., etc. So this is mentioned here, luxury items. This you have to memorize. And then 3%, 0.25, nothing changed. These are the new things that you will have to memorize. But again, if UPSC wants to know what are the exact changes that Government of India has done in GST, which item should we memorize? That pehle it was 12, now it is 0. How do we get that list? So that list is right there in front of you on page number 4. You can see table number 7 and 8. Please open page number 4, table number 7 and 8. Dekhiye bachcho. Table number 7 and table number 8. What can you see in table number 7? You can see that there is a category of product called FMCG, fast moving consumer goods. Those which people buy in everyday life. FMCG, education, healthcare, insurance and defense. Then I have mentioned the detail of the product and then I have mentioned for you that earlier what was the rate, now what is the rate. So you can see in many of these 5 to nil, 12 to nil, 18 to nil essay. Can you see that? This you will have to memorize for UPSC prelims. It will come through practice. This has to be memorized. Some of the things I already highlighted here in table number 5. आप देख सकते हो, in table 5 I have put few items name, but in table number 7 I have given the detail. Same table number 8, देखो guys, see some of the items have been moved to 40%. See the 40% category now, non-alcoholic beverages. See, it is mentioned by the government specifically, non-alcoholic beer and fruit juice. These are new entries which government has made. That is why we are focusing on that, right? So you can see pan masala, cigarette, and blah blah. All this is sin goods, casino, horse race, pistol, smoking pipes, luxury goods. This will have to memorize. This category you will have to memorize. Pure memorization. So what are you noticing? Wherever concept is required, you have to do concept. Like we started with equation. Wherever memorization, you have to do the memorization part. So now these simple things are over, but this is not the main thing of GST this year. The main thing is something else, which is on page number 3. Come to page number 3. And you can see table number 3 and 4. What is this? Table number 3 and 4. So table number 3 and 4 is something which you have to understand. देखिए क्या लिखा? What is written? Please write those titles in your handout. Table number 3, what is the title written? Non-taxable supply, you should also write. Non-taxable supply. Write it, please. And table number 4, non-GST supply. Non-taxable supply, non-GST supply. What is the meaning of non-taxable supply? Non-taxable. You see the word, why supply is important now. If we would have ignored the word supply in the definition of GST, then there is no meaning of all this. You can never prepare GST without supply. So what is the meaning of these two? What is the difference between these two? This must be important. Otherwise, in a current affairs class, it is not possible that we will bring this thing. 100% it is important. What is this and why is it so important? So shall I explain? I'll tell you. Now listen to it very carefully. The government of India, when they designed the system of GST, बहुत ध्यान सुनिए बच्चों. When the government of India designed the system of GST, they said, whenever something will be supplied, I'll put a tax. Immediately somebody said, wait. So you mean to say government of India that on alcohol, petrol, diesel, you are going to CNG, methane. So you're going to put a tax over all of them? Government said, no, I cannot put a tax over them because when I was planning to put a GST over them, state governments made a request that for a few years, let the state government put VAT over them separately. Because if you put everything under GST, then the state governments will lose the power sometimes to increase the taxes. Sometimes they want more taxes. But if everything is under GST, then both center and state will control it together. So the autonomy of the state to impose taxes will go away. So they made a request that for a few years, please don't disturb these things. So immediately center said, that's why I had to create a new category. We said, which category? They said, for a few years, we would call alcohol. We will call, for example, things like petrol, diesel, aviation turbine fuel. Right? So center said, these things, we will call them as if supply is happening. So GST will call it supply, but we will put it outside GST. So we created a new category called as non-taxable supply. Matlab, it is a supply. But what kind of supply is this? Currently non-taxable under GST. So under GST, we will call it supply. They will be supply, but no GST over them. They are out. For how many years? Currently no idea. But one day in future, this word non-taxable, non-word will be removed. Just the non-word will be removed. So if somebody will ask you that, does government call it supply under GST? Yes. It's written, no. It is supply. But is it taxable currently? No. On the basis of request of state government. That is the first category. And I gave you examples. I'll make you write, don't worry. Second. Then somebody asked the government of India that, government, you are saying every supply is taxable. Government said taxable, yes, this is also taxable. Currently, we are not putting tax. Then somebody asked a question, Acha, government, tell us something. Suppose that a student qualifies UPSC like you guys. You qualify UPSC, you will get a salary from Government of India. Suppose 1 lakh rupees per month. The moment government will give you salary, will the same government come to you and tell you, beta, you got 1 lakh rupees salary, usme se 18% GST? You will not pay GST, you will pay income taxes. Acha, matlab if somebody is working for an employer, employee-employer relationship, GST not applicable. Oh, wow. Amazing. Second, suppose that I'm your mom and dad. Very difficult to imagine, I know. Matlab ek saath one. But imagine that I'm your mom and dad and I give you pocket money, utha ke abhi. Pocket money in your hand, 100 rupees. So the moment I give you 100 rupees, will the Government of India come and say, 100 rupees, pocket money, GST? Supply has happened, bhai? Simple transfer of money, no. If it is during some sale, yes. So money per se is not a part of GST. Are you getting this point? Similarly, bacho, suppose that, and I don't want to explain this point too much, I'll just pass over it, little bit of explanation. So suppose that somebody passed away. So whatever activities we do, last rituals, etc., transportation, all those, worshipping and all those things, on those items, no GST. So what has the Government of India done? Government of India has said that there are some items which Government of India says, according to GST, it is not called as supply. It will never be called as supply. So what is this table? This table is a table which contains those activities which government says, according to GST, it is not supply. Never. Government says, never I'll call it supply. It's been decided by center and state. This is no supply at all. This is a supply currently out of GST. In future, it will be applicable under GST. But this is a supply which will never come under GST. Government says, never ever. These are the two categories. Important? Very important. If I have to create MCQ, I'll make MCQ on this only to confuse my students. So, what is the list of items? This is the list of items. Please write it. The entire list. Table number 3 and table number 4. So do you feel that GST should be prepared in a slightly different way? Yes, regular preparation for exam won't help. Because the way the exam is framing questions, it is interlinking different subjects together, number one. Number two, it is going slightly into conceptual parts. Factual is also there. But if you don't put a limit on factual, how many items will you memorize? With the whole lifetime will go in memorizing. So we have to put a limit. So first of all, facts have to be put within a limit. Number two, concepts have to be established. And number third, if there is anything unique to a concept, that must be studied. And you must have come to know now that it is not earth-shattering concept. It is simple concept. Just that you should know it. And we are putting money, what is securities? Shares, bonds. On shares, which tax do we put? Security transaction tax. That is why we don't put GST over them. We put security transaction tax. And sale of complete properties. If you buy a completed house, then government says it is not supply. No GST, no supply. Incomplete house, yes, GST. Because government says if something is incomplete, work in progress, it is supply. This is, what is ATF? Aviation turbine fuel. It is the fuel which is used for aircrafts, ATF. These are the entries in your table 3 and 4. Done? Now you have to come to another page. I think we must be reaching the final pages. Yeah, page number 4. Then we'll do MCQs. Come to page number 4, bacho, table number 6. Read it carefully, please. So we have learned two things, Abhi. First, something is a supply but currently out of GST, and other things which GST says is not a supply. We have studied these two. अब ये क्या है? What is this category? Which is table number 6. Table number 6 says there are some entries there. To my online kids, guys, I'm sure you must be looking into it. Table number 6 says export and supplies made to special economic zones. Special economic zones are geographical areas within India which we treat like a foreign country for the purpose of taxation and trade. Like Gujarat, there is a place called Kandla seaport area. We treat it like special economic zone and we treat as if it's a foreign country within India. So exports and supplies made to SEG. Second is supplies that have declared rate of 0%. We have seen 0% slab today. The third is essential goods and services related to agriculture, healthcare, education, and public utilities. Public utilities means electricity, water supply. So what will you write on the left side? What will you write here on the left side? Current affairs. You have used the term today. I heard some of you. Many of you used it online and offline both. So what is the, if UPSC will ask you, they will ask you these questions and they will say, which of the following is included under ABC? And they will mention these three. What is that ABC? Exempt category. So basically, see, these three things together are called as exempt. So what is exempt under GST? Exempt is equal to, I call it ABC. It is called A plus B plus C. But what is ABC? That's the point. A means, actually we have done it, 0 rated. What is B? B is called as nil. And what is C? C is called as notified supply. Notified supply. 0 rated we already know, export. Nil we already know, it is the basic essential item where the government says, I don't want to put a tax. What is this third one? Notified. I'll tell you the meaning of notified. The meaning of notified is, these are the items, see carefully, agriculture, healthcare, education, electricity and water. Government of India says, currently, government feels, for example, this year, government feels that as of now, the situation is not that advanced that we can put taxes over these basic necessities of life. So government says, currently, I'm exempting it through notification. Well, these are under GST and government can very well put an 18% tax over them. They are eligible. Government says, ideally, they are eligible for tax. Center has decided, state has decided. But in the GST council meeting, center says, we decided that currently, we need to look into different slabs like 5%, 18%, 40%, and we need to take out a few things where we should issue a notification and say that as of now, only in a very temporary manner, I don't know till when it will continue, but for some time, I am the government, I feel we should not put GST on supply related to, let's say, education, health, etc. Few of the items should be given exemption. Few of the items related to education, agriculture, health, a few. Or say few of the items I don't want to put GST. Few of the items I will. So what is written in the notification? In the notification, the government writes those list of items precisely within agriculture, healthcare, education, where the government will not take GST. So don't say that within health, education, there is no GST. There will be GST. But in some of the items related to them, some of the agriculture supplies, some of the health related, some of the education related, government says, I'm putting a list and I'll say, nahi, iske upar I don't want to put a GST temporarily. And it is issued through notification. So if somebody will ask you that, is there a GST on healthcare and education? Yeah, there is. If it is not, then why the government of India has created different categories, life-saving medicine, non-life-saving medicine. On many of the items, there is GST in healthcare. But there are many items where government of India says there is no GST through notification. So this notification can change year to year. So these three categories together are called exempt. So if UPSC will ask you what is the meaning of exempt category, you should say these three categories together is called exempt. Don't put any fourth category in the exempt. Currently, as per the current definition of Government of India, exempt means three things only. 1, 2, 3, these three. So in GST, we should not use the terms in a sloppy manner. Kuch bhi we should not use. We should use it very precisely. And these are all currently updated terms. Now, please come to page number 5. Please come to page number 5, bachcho. On page number 5, you will see something interesting. मैं दिखाता हूं आपको. Please see. See this. This has been released by Ministry of Finance. This thing that you see, no, it's a screenshot of Ministry of Finance. It's factual. So we should not change it. So what is that? I told you that in our classes, we refer to newspaper, we refer to PIB. So it came in PIB and it was issued by Ministry of Finance. So since it is very crisp, so we don't need to change. Padhte isko, let us see. It says why GST is a milestone. Why is GST important? What is the answer? It says it has subsumed 17 different taxes, 13 cess, as we have seen. Second, it says eliminated cascading effect. Brilliant. That is the milestone. Third, it says single market. And it says with common rates and procedure. Procedure like ITC. Remember, I told you two things. Third is simplified compliance and improved transparency. Transparency is there because it is digital. Right? Data management is digital. Last point, it symbolizes economic integration of the country. 100% correct. Because entire India is one under GST. So this is its milestone. Where should you use this? In your mains answer, introduction. This is a ready-made material for introduction. If they ask you that, why is GST introduced, discuss the latest reform, then you should start writing that GST is an indirect tax based on supply. It has subsumed 17 different taxes, 13 cess, and created a single market for India and led to economic integration. Combine all these things. So do not all these things, select 1 or 2 points from here and create an intro. Ready-made material for intro. Next point, performance of GST. This has to be prepared for both prelims and mains. Dono mein aayega. It will come in prelims and mains both. So you need to memorize this whole table for mains, and for prelims data will be asked. Let me show you how to convert this difficult looking thing into something simple. Ye dekho. This is how. So see, what have we mentioned? So I just converted the box into this. What is the first point? Ab dekho how easy it looks. So if you want, you can note this down. So what is it saying? It says number of taxpayers in 2017 under GST were 66.5 lakhs. Now, how many people are paying taxes GST into 2025 till now? 1.51 crore. Wow. It has increased more than 2 times. Hai na, bacho? It has become more than twice. So can we say that the number of taxpayers have more than doubled? Yes. Look at the second point. It says GST collection. Look at the GST collection. 2019, 11 lakh crores. Now, if you look at today, the total GST collection in the year 2023, 22 lakh crores. So over a period of time, can we say that our GST collection has almost doubled? 11 lakh crore has become 22 lakh crores. Ab dekho, see this. Number 2, record revenue growth, doubling in just 4 years. In just 4 years, it has doubled. Collection of GST. Look at the third point. Ye dekho, average monthly collection. Ye to total collection. This is monthly collection. So look at the monthly collection, average monthly, every month on an average. If you go to 2017, our monthly average collection of GST was 82,000 crore. Every month we were thinking of collecting, or we were able to collect roughly 82,000 crore month-wise. 82. What is our average monthly collection of 2 lakh crores every month? And why is it 2 lakh crore every month? Number 1, that means people are buying and selling. And number 2, number of taxpayers have increased. Earlier they were not. Now many people are saying, okay, I'll pay GST. So this is your data which you have to memorize. Now can we come to MCQs? The style which I was telling you that one should always prepare along with MCQs. Aiye, please come. Let's see question number 10. Question number 10, guys. Question number 10. Which of the following items are included in non-taxable supply? See, Now it has come. Non-taxable supply. Answer? You have written it. Abhi, you have just written. Answer is crude oil and diesel. Absolutely correct. This is called as non-taxable. What is the meaning of non-taxable supply? Matlab, is it considered under supply or outside supply? Under supply, but currently not under GST. Awesome. Matlab, it is supply, but no GST over them. Now, next question number 11. Which of the following is or are considered as non-GST supply? Matlab, GST says that you are not a supply. Answer is all of this. All of this. Shares, matlab, वही securities, shares and bonds, because we put security transaction tax over them. Good. Question number 12. Question number 12, please answer. From the data given in your various tables, which I have given you today, please refer to them. Please give an answer. देखो ऐसे questions are asked in UPSC. And you cannot do wrong in this. Consider the following statements regarding GST 2.0. On stationary items like eraser, geometry box, GST is being reduced from 12 to 5%. Yeah, it is not. It's factual. You have the tables. You check the tables are there. I think table 4 or 5. ऐसे कुछ. It's there. So first is wrong. Second, GST on insurance is being reduced. Reduced or eliminated? Zero. So can we call zero as reduction? Yeah, 100% yes. Playing with literature. We have playing with literature. And it has been, yeah, earlier it was 12 and 18, now it is 0. So either you call it reduced, but the better word is 0, nil. So yes, it is correct. Just playing with literature. The third is GST on alcoholic beer is being increased to 40% as it is an alcoholic beer. Anything which is alcoholic is not under 40%. It is outside. It is through VAT and excise duty. Just because we use the word alcoholic beer, it is not under GST. Alcohol things are not under GST. And this is alcohol for human consumption, so it is out. So answer is only two, only one, yes, but digit 2. So insurance wala point is correct. First and third are wrong. First and third are wrong. Please come to question number 14. 13 though you already know. Please come to question number 14 and please answer the question. And then we can close our arguments. But first you check question number 14, please. Question number 14. Answer. Tax base has more than doubled to 1 crore. Yes. Look carefully. More than doubled to 1 crore. Tax base matlab taxpayers. It has more than doubled, yes, to 1 crore. 1.5 crore. Bacho. Factual. Playing with literature. Read the sentence carefully. It says tax base has more than doubled. Correct. Then the word 2. Correct. And then the word 1 crore. No. 1.5 crore. So doubling of 66 is not one. Doubling of 66 is, in fact, it's more than double. So first statement is wrong. Second statement, yearly GST collection has nearly doubled. Yeah, this is. Read the box. Box pe aaye. Please come to the box which is there in your handout. Read it, please. This is the shortcut. Read the box. Please come to page number 5. Read the box. Record revenue growth. But your monthly collection is 2 lakh crores. Average monthly collection is 2 lakh crore. Malab yearly to easily we are getting at least 22 to 24 lakh crore. So earlier, what was our yearly collection? Up to 11 lakh crore, we used to go every year on an average and done. But now on yearly basis only, total yearly collection is 22 lakh. Matlab monthly is 2 lakh. Monthly 2 lakh. So multiply 2 with 12. Roughly 24. Wahi to hai, 22. So which means these days on monthly basis, we are able to get roughly 2 lakh crore, and on yearly basis, easily we are hitting 22 lakh crore. So look at the statement of the question. Question says, yearly GST collection has nearly doubled. Yeah, yearly GST collection earlier used to be 11 lakh crore. It has almost doubled. So that is correct. Yes, doubling in 4 years, but it says consider the following statement regarding performance of GST in phase one. Okay, we can make it more precise, but because in the bracket it is phase one, and phase one data has been released by Government of India, so we will say that nearly it has doubled. Now, currently, presently. Okay, we can make it more precise, but then as I told you that in UPSC options are not always precise and it is factual. In conceptual things, we have to be precise. In factual things, they will give you brackets like this and they will say, consider the following statements regarding performance of GST phase one. We have just completed phase one. So phase one started around 2017 and phase one just got completed, but data is not available. For this one, the government has not released the data. As you can see the box, that box is a screenshot. This box on page 5 is a screenshot. It has not been typed. So government did not release the data. So for phase one, this is the only data available. So based on this data, we can say that yearly, roughly, the performance has not doubled. In phase one means starting till now, whatever is the data available. In the bracket, you see phase one. So phase one was starting till now, whatever data is available according to that data. So according to that data, it has nearly doubled. That is the thing with this data. And the next question, next part. Average monthly collection has nearly reached 2 lakh crore. Yeah, nearly 2. It has nearly reached 2 lakh crore. So which means that second and third can be considered to be close to correct answers based on phase one performance, based on the data. So now please come to the last part. Ye dekho. Last part is page number 6. Come to page number 6, please. And then I will show you 2-3 more questions. Come to page number 6, bacho. On page number 6, what can you see? 7 pillars of next gen GST reforms. Now, what is the Government of India saying? See how interesting this is. Government of India is saying that the new GST that they have introduced, that new GST stands on 7 pillars. Matlab, there are 7 important components which defines the new GST. Just say the old GST was defined on the basis of a pillar, one nation, one tax. But new GST has 7 such slogans. Let us see the slogan. First is building on the success of GST. So government says our previous GST was successful. Now we are going to be more successful. How are they saying they are successful? Based on page number 5 ka data. This data. So government says based on this data, we feel we are successful. So next phase will build upon this. Matlab we'll be more successful. That is what they are saying. Now, point number 2, they are saying rationalizing rates for fair taxation. So now Government of India says that if there are more slabs, input tax credit refund, dispute resolution, it becomes very difficult. Filing taxes becomes difficult. Now government is saying everything is becoming smooth and easy. So they are saying it leads to fairness. Matlab if less disputes, less complication, more fairness. That is the second point. Third point, the government says simplifying the filing through technology. Abacho, how do we file the taxes, GST? Computers. Technology. Earlier, if you wanted to file the taxes, you have to go to chartered accountant office, right? Files, application, this, that. So now government is saying everything is simple through filing the GST through technology. So can you self-file GST? Yes, you can. You don't need a chartered accountant. आप खुद ही कर सकते हो. You can do it. That's the beauty of the new GST. Putting consumer first. Now government is saying that I value consumer. When does the government start to butter up the consumer? When the government wants that consumer should spend. So the government is indirectly telling us, please consume, please spend, so that GDP can rise. So इसलिए government is saying putting consumer first, matlab I am giving you 0%, I am giving you 5, this, that. Why? To motivate us to spend more. That's number 1. So what will you write in front of point number 4, pillar number 4? You will write that this will increase aggregate demand and consumption. So aggregate demand will rise, consumption will rise. So point number 4. Point number 5, empowering MSMEs and manufacturers. Ab dekho bachcho, there are 2 things which are happening. I went a little deep into it just to see why government mentioned the point. I found that there are many inputs, raw materials used by MSMEs and machines used by MSMEs. Unke upar GST has been reduced. So now government is saying that for MSMEs, buying the inputs has become easy, machines become easy. Why? Because now less GST, so even MSMEs can buy more machines. So that is why the government is saying that, and plus inverted duty structure has been improved. What is inverted duty structure? When the GST on raw material is higher and the GST on final product is lower, that leads to problem in input tax credit. This problem is being sorted. In textile sector, footwear sector, electronics, the government is sorting this. Government is saying it will be easy. So that is your empowering. Next is stronger state, stronger Bharat. Now, government of India is saying that state governments were complaining that GST is not leading to people buying more goods and services because refrigerator is costly, AC is costly. So now government of India is saying, देखो, if GST rates are down, aggregate demand will be high. So center will get CGST, states will get SGST. So center is saying states should also be happy, center should also be happy. So center is saying, bhai, I am following the federal principle. So be happy now. That is what center is trying to convince the state. So point number 6, pillar number 6 is about federal polity. Point number 6 is federal polity. Point number 7, lower taxes, higher spending. This we have seen that, GDP is equal to C plus G plus I plus NX. And we saw how lowering of GST will increase C, consumption, aggregate demand, saving, and GDP. We saw it in the initial part of the lecture. That is your last point. Now, please come to page number 1. देखते हैं कुछ questions. Let us try to solve some questions. Question number 1, 2017. Let's solve it. बच्चों, question number 1. What is or are the most likely advantage of implementing goods and services tax? It will replace multiple taxes collected by multiple authorities and then thus create a single market in India. Yes or no? Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Now, remaining of the options are wrong. You can read it. It's absurd. But question number 2 ka answer you should provide. Please provide question number 2, 3, 4. Please solve and tell me the answer. I will wait for your answer. And question number 6 also. 2, 3, 4 and question number 6. Please solve. Done. So question number 2 says, consider the following statements regarding GST in India. It is a tax imposed on supply of goods and services. Yes or no? Absolutely correct. Then it says it is a tax on production. Can you give an example of tax on production? Excise duties. Perfect. Excise duties. Correct. It is more progressive than income tax. GST is progressive. It is indirect tax. It is not progressive. So, first is correct. Question number 3. In the first phase, as per Ministry of Finance, this is important. As per government says this. So we can't have interpretations. As per Ministry of Finance, how many major slabs were included? How many slabs? 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%, 3% and 0.25%. 7 slabs? Has 7? 7 is the option. 4. 4 major slabs. So when you ask the government of India that what are the major slabs under GST, the Ministry of Finance says the 4 major slabs cover maximum items. And they remove the 0%. They say 0% is not a slab because we are not collecting it. So they say we are effectively collecting 5. We are collecting 12 because it's past. वो देखो ना लिखा है first phase. So 5, 12, 18 and 28. They said these were the major ones. According to Ministry of Finance, they said we are not including 0. And 3 and 0.25 also we are saying it's minor. Not because of collection. They are saying that it's a combination of collection and number of items. So they are saying 0 we are not collecting. 0 matlab let go. So they're saying that is why we don't call it as effective slab. In that sense, it's playing with literature. So the answer is 4. And now what is the government saying? That in GST 2.2, as per Ministry of Finance, how many major slabs have been included currently? 2. In fact, it is written in the 7 pillars also. See, the 7 pillars that we studied today, I told I simply copied it from the ministry. So if you see the first pillar, see what is written in the first pillar? Simpler 2-tier structure. Simpler 2-tier structure. So now government is saying that 2 are the major ones. So I'm not including extreme things. Government is saying I'm not including extreme. I'm including normal. Normal are 2 only, 5 and 18. This is the language of the Ministry of Finance only, so we have to stick to it. So if UPSC will ask you the question that how many total slabs are there under the current GST, what will you say? Total slabs 0, 5, 18, 40, 3 and 0.25 total. But if they ask you that what are the major slabs? 2, 5 and 18. There is a difference of literature. Now, question number 6, no, 6 is left. Question number 6. Which of the following is the major objective of GST reform? Reduce indirect taxes in India, yes or no? Obviously, yes. Number 2 is promote social justice. Why? Example. Correct. Essential items and insurance. Things like insurance, life-saving medicines. This is called as social justice. Absolutely correct. Number 3, boost consumption. Obviously, that is the whole idea of doing all this. So boost consumption. So answer is all the 3. So bacho, this was an example of how you have to do something like GST from current affairs perspective by focusing on the right areas and the technical areas. And this is how your notes should be. Aapke notes aise hone chahiye. This is how you have to prepare the notes. Did you also notice the importance of solving questions along with preparing the current affairs? You remove these questions and the preparation of current affairs is incomplete. You remove questions from your preparation of static areas and your preparation will be highly incomplete and insufficient. So I strongly suggest that the scheme which I gave you, because today's lecture was not about how to prepare for UPSC. Today's lecture was very precise, that how to integrate current affairs in your preparation strategy for next 4 months. And what did I tell you? That you should divide your preparation into phases, and subject wise, as I told you, that science, tech, environment, etc. you should do in the first phase, and the second phase you should do economics related things. And how should you make notes? Aapne dekha kuch? Did you notice minimum use of literature, maximum use of flowchart and tables? Whatever is important, jaise you can see, we have highlighted, and maximum use of flowchart, table to create more systematic approach to preparation. But we always start with basics. Bahut छोटी-छोटी चीजें. For example, definition, it has to be given importance. Features, give importance. ऐसे करके you should prepare. So if you are preparing on your own also, it's not a problem, you can do it. But then you will have to do a test series. Test series of current affairs is a must, as I showed you why. So don't ever be complacent about your preparation that, I will never make a mistake. We are humans, we make mistakes. We only try to minimize it so that it is not too much and it doesn't cost us the career. So, theek hai? So can we handle current affairs now? Now you tell me, if there is anything in your current affairs strategy for today's session, I want to focus on current affairs that you want to know from me. Anything that bothers you in current affairs. So one is the timing. See, as I told you, if you are doing self-study, great, integrate this approach which I have told you. But if you are coming in the program, if you have already completed your syllabus, etc., timing, I think we'll have it in the evening only 5:30. And the classes will be like this. We will integrate the current along with little bit of static, and MCQ solving will be done in the class. So hardcore teaching time would be somewhere around 2 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes. The remaining time goes in discussion and MCQs. It takes time. So hardcore current affairs 2 hours, but along with 2 hours, static also has to be done and MCQs also to be done. So 1 hour extra. So classes will be 17th of Jan will start. April 25th around will complete. So that is our plan. 35 classes around. So that is the plan. But as I told you, that if you are preparing for 2027, maybe you are preparing for 27, or suppose that you are planning for later than 27, integrate these strategies, it will help. If you are planning for 2026, then you take a call. I still tell you that you trust your self-studies, and whatever resources are available, like Vajiram ka analyst program is there. The yearly compilation will also come. These are top class materials. You can refer to them. But if you feel that current affairs has become your biggest trouble, etc., फिर you can come in the program. Otherwise, put more emphasis on your studies. That is what I feel. Notes at least 10 days. When to make notes because one topic remains in news for at least 10 days. So, bacho, if somebody says how to make notes on these things, I'll tell you. Why could I make notes like this? Because I'm trained in the subject. How will your notes look like? In your notes, first page will be similar in my and your notes. It's summary. Second page will be similar because it is again current affairs. Third page will go slowly because on some items the government of India will make it zero today, some items in future. So your third page will be incomplete, which you will complete over a period of time. So आप क्या करेंगे? Whenever you make notes like this, if you feel that government is changing it more, add one page extra and start writing. At the end of 6-7 months, your notes will look like mine. Our notes will look similar, but in between, your and my notes will look different. So, but yes, in 6-7 months, you will see that approach will be almost 90% same because you will keep on adding. So this is how it is done. If you're planning for 2026, optional and GS is complete, it won't be humanly impossible. Yeah, correct. So if, for example, let's say somebody is planning for 2026, but your GS, you are still doing, your optional, you are still doing, then I would say that, as one of your friend is saying, that I find it nearly humanly, impossible. I agree. If nothing is complete, that means your target is 2027. So, but if things are complete, then, for example, your GS is 60-70% complete, optional is 50% complete, then it is possible that you can take the plunge. But if you have just started and nothing is complete, 27 is the target. But एक बात बताओ बच्चों, even if 27 is your target, will the strategy of current affairs change? What will change? Nothing will change. Don't take stress. If you feel that 26 is something which you are aiming for, and you feel that 30, 40, 50% preparation is done, you should take the call. And you should say that, let me try till the month of March and then let me see if I can do it. But if you feel that nothing is prepared, don't put stress over yourself. Then you are also a human. Don't be inhuman, and be a little lenient on yourself. Don't put too much pressure. Just be normal. But if you feel 30-40% preparation, then decide in March. What advice would I give you for current affairs if you are planning for 2027? Newspaper. I can assure you, see, though Vajiram has a batch of current affairs, but if you do newspaper every day along with recital and a test series of Vajiram, current affairs course not required for you. I'm telling you this. Complete self-study can help you to handle things. Maybe you might require a crash course later on, but majorly through self-study you can manage. But if you become indisciplined in newspaper, there is no summary. ये सब कहाँ से लिखा मैंने? From where did I write? Do you believe that we refer to magazine? Never. In fact, this is all from newspaper, directly from newspaper. And I showed you the sources also. Newspaper and PIB, that's it. And see how complete the notes look like if you refer to newspaper. So I suggest that you please don't leave newspaper on any single day. You take newspaper seriously. Countries that, yes, for IR, bacho IR, countries in news, for example. Similarly, if there is a personality in news related to IR, some personalities are in news, connect them with places. At which country do they belong to? What has happened in that country? So that becomes very important. So yes, it can help you, Shabaz. International relations, you can rely on current affairs, totally. So बच्चों, in our program, I'll just show you one thing, फिर आप बताइए. I believe that the IR faculty who is going to teach you IR and environment, you can completely rely upon them. Here, देखो, these subjects, SNT, environment and IR, we have a team who will take this classes with you. According to me, I believe that gives a 95% coverage. Since last three batches, we have seen almost a 90-95% coverage from there. Coverage as in that whatever questions are asked based on class notes, etc., almost it is possible to solve. The only thing that you will find in our notes is thickness is like this. So somebody might say that, but zyada nahi hai, you might have missed. Nahi, everything is there. So all of us in our team, we believe in that only. So that is there. You wanted to ask something. Two ways. One is that first of all, you get your absolute basic things very clear. For example, you divide the world into various zones and try to see that there are some species which are specific to some type of vegetation and some type of geographical conditions. So first of all, you should do that. These are called as conventional kind of preparation of species. The second is those places which are in news. So for example, recently suppose that you have read in news that there is one volcano which has all of a sudden become active and there is a national park close to it. So flora and fauna destroyed. So that species which is being destroyed will be asked in the news. So which means that you have to cover it from current affairs perspective. So you have to search for all the places which are in news from flora and fauna perspective. And then in your core species wala notes, which is related to natural vegetation and geography, you have to add on to those points, which means that is why I kept it here, complete current. So there is no other way to do it. You have to do it like current affairs. You don't have to do it conceptually. Conceptually, बस आप यही कर सकते हो that, for example, if you go to higher altitude, you will find a certain type of animals with certain features, certain fur, certain color. Bas ye, this is what you can do. Other things, complete current. Which means from newspaper, you have to select it one by one. So this part you will have to do. There are 2-3 ways of doing it. So for example, I can tell you a source. One source would be Hindu newspaper, and the other source would be that you take up any magazine. I'll give you the example of Recital magazine. For example, if you open Recital magazine of exactly 4 months back, you will see that there is a certain section given there in the Recital magazine which was related to launch vehicles. So what the Recital magazine did is, it gave you all the type of evolution of different type of launch vehicles in India since last 20-30 years. A timeline was given with little description of everything. That should be your base. So taking it as a base, then you should build upon it. That achha, this is in news, so where does it fit? But some base is required. A baseless kind of making notes in current affairs that, okay, latest one is this, but it won't help. So what you need to do is you need a current affairs magazine to help you to create that background knowledge. Over that, you add the current affairs. So if you are making notes, I would suggest that the basic notes should be taken from some magazine. It saves time. Why should I write a timeline of launch vehicles if I already am getting it in the Recital magazine? But this is what you should do. Similarly, if I'll give an example, suppose we are doing notes on gender empowerment. So what I'll do is I'll open a magazine Recital and I'll see the gender issues. So in the gender issue, I have seen in the Recital what they have done is they have given 1 page background notes that in constitution and economics, how did it evolve? They have given all the constitutional provisions, schemes, ka name, everything. And then they are saying that latest, this is the step by Government of India. So that 1 page of static or whatever happened in the past, I'll tear out from the magazine. I'll put it in my notes. Then I'll start adding it. This is one way to save your time. ऐसे आप बचा सकते हो time. So background knowledge should be taken from magazine. Value addition should be done by you. Mistake that we make, वो पूरा background information we start to create on our own by doing Google, etc. It will take too much time. We don't have that time, बच्चों. For example, आप ही बताओ ना, I'm asking you a question. The first page and the second page which we are doing in the class, the background knowledge, do you really feel that you should do it word by doing Google, textbook, 20 textbook? करना चाहिए सब नहीं. If it is given in a magazine in 2 pages like Recital, just take it out from there and add some values to it. It saves hell lot of time. Otherwise, these 2 pages will take you 2 days. You don't have that much time. So please don't extend your preparation. Hai na? So the advice that I give you is that only. So if your attempt is 27, then your this type of note making should immediately start. And all the more reason to make these notes. So whenever you select a theme, if something comes in the newspaper, let's say that some news has been given to related to India's relationship with Middle East. So what I'll do is I'll open a magazine or I'll open a standard book or textbook or something, and I'll see the background information that India and Middle East, what is the information which has evolved over a period of time. And then I'll make a 1 or 2 pager like this, and then I will start making notes so that in future, as one of your online friend was saying, that what if some news is repeated every 2-3 months, correct? So that in future, base is there, I can keep on adding pages. So you should make notes, but you should make very simple and crisp notes like this. This is what I feel you should do. This should be your sample. But again, as I told you, whenever you are making notes, make sure that you join a question answer kind of test so as to test yourself. So thank you so much, guys. If you are living, all the best to you. And if you have any doubts, I'll first take it and then I'll leave. Let me take one online, then I'll come one offline. So, your book on the economy is... Thank you so much if you are reading my book. Thank you so much, guys. And if you want any information regarding the classes or current affairs, etc., here is the contact. How to arrange the notes. Some topics are linked to multiple subjects. Dekho, if you are thinking of linking your notes Then thank you so much, guys. Then I suggest that every topic that you are reading in the newspapers is related to some major subject. For example, if you are reading the definition of GST, GST can be studied from GS2 perspective also, 3 also. But we know that GST as a tax is related to GS paper 3, but the acts of the parliament are related to paper 2. So whenever you read a particular theme or a news item, if you try to identify, you will see that it is majorly related to some areas, it will have an overlap with others. But I would suggest that whenever you feel that a theme is related majorly to something, you put it there, because everything looks connected to everything else. So that is not how we should do it. We should put it in the areas which are majorly connected to that part. What about the to be read? Are they sufficient? 100% yes. So for example, as I told you, newspaper, PIB. Then I can suggest you a test series like by Vajiram, one of the current affairs program test series. The third is the Analyst and monthly magazine. This is the best way, recipe of self-studies. This is what I feel. What else? First time. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, we don't, like in our classes also, we don't do these things. Time is very precious, and time of the aspirants is to be respected, because you are giving the best phase of your life in something. So I don't think that we should be wasting our time. So thank you so much for acknowledging it. Definitely. Oh, Utkarsh, you are here. Definitely. See you tomorrow at 7:30. Yes, yes, yes. We'll see you in the class. All right. So I think we have addressed all the queries online. Thank you so much, guys. So, guys, all the best to you. And it was really good to connect with many of you whom I have taught in various programs, be it GS Foundation module or current affairs. So thank you so much. Practice some questions every day. See, I believe that everyday practice of mains related questions should not be done. I believe that it should be done in the beginning, maybe in a gap of 2 days. Later on, when you are in full-fledged exam mode, then you can do it. But I believe that in a gap of 2 to 3 days, you should write one answer. But MCQs of some sort should be almost done every day. Either 1 or 2 question, 3, 5, 4, it should be done almost everyday basis. Thank you so much. Yeah, please, please. What's your doubt? Please tell your doubt again. I'll definitely address it. Please share your question. So let me see. Where is the question? Optional is not complete. Which month can I stretch? Okay. So see, I believe that it's a very personal thing related to preparation, but I can give you an answer, a generic answer, which you can change a little bit. Maximum that you can stretch is around 15th to 20th of January. That is what I feel. Because after that, you will have a lot of challenges related to current affairs, CSAT. So I believe that maximum you can go is up to, let's say, 20th of January. If your polity and economics are complete, if these two are complete, then you can stretch your optional till, let's say, 25th of Jan or something like that. If your polity and economy are pending, which are two major subjects, then you should not cross the boundary of 15th or 20th. But if your polity and economics is complete, then you can go up to almost like the end of Jan, and you can handle. Slightly risky, but I think manageable. You can manage. So tell yourself that it is manageable. Why not? Right, so thank you so much. Thank you. So all the best, guys. We'll see you in the next session, which is related to, again, current affairs for mains and overall preparation. We'll see you very soon then. Thank you. God bless you. Do well. Thank you so much, guys.